And we are live with Spot Dodge, a live Nintendo podcast where every single week we react to the latest Nintendo news and talk about the games we are playing. With me here is, as always, Mary Stowe, social media manager and host at Destructoid. Along with her, Greg Vargas, writer over at PC Invasion and streamer over at Dynamite Giraffe. Then we have John Frisha, indie developer and managing editor over at The Escapist. And then lastly, Brett Larson, the king daddy dilf of the podcast, run by our very own Eric on the ones and twos, streaming the show live from his supercomputer. Thank you, Eric. We love you. Fast intro tonight, you guys.
Done.
Yeah, let's just get on into it.
Eric.
So if you're new to the place, stick around, hang out. This is a Nintendo podcast where we talk about all sorts of things, from RPGs to bidets, like we were just talking about 5 seconds before the show started. Yep. Pretty much anything you can imagine, we'll talk about on this show, including like every other platform and not just Nintendo. I don't know why this is still a Nintendo podcast, but you know, there's a niche that I'm trying to hit, you know?
It's a Nintendo podcast because we love Nintendo, but they just don't always have a lot of news to discuss. Let's be honest.
Yeah, like we could spend. There's a chance that we talk about the Last of Us TV show for the last like 30 minutes of the show. We
could probably talk about it for the entire episode if I had my way. But
that was a really good episode. But anyway, let's get into it. The opening topic is remakes and remasters. This is something that a lot of people will randomly argue about in like every comments section on anything. Whenever like I posted, I love the new Metroid Prime Remake. Someone in the comments is going to be like, it's actually not a remake. It's just a remaster, blah, 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 blah. But then there'll be other times where it's like, I love the Last of Us part. I love the Last of Us remake. And it's like, Sony marketed it as a remake. Is it a remake? Is that considered a remake? If that's the bar for a remake, then a lot of things are remakes. So that's what I wanted to get into today. And I actually have a list of games that I wanted to go down and see what you guys think about their remake versus remaster status. And I want to hear what you guys think
down
about
on it. Go down on it.
Go down on that list.
Okay, I don't know if I want it to anymore.
Too late.
Come on, Brett. It's Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's true.
So first, I forgot about that. It is.
Yeah.
Whoops. Forgot to do anything. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
No,
okay.
We don't celebrate.
But Brett, it's divorce day.
Favorite love scene in gaming, guys. Favorite love scene.
We don't celebrate that in my household. It's just some made up thing. All right.
Yeah. I tell that to my wife every year too, and she doesn't buy it. She's like, no, you're still celebrating it. That's too bad. I'm like, God damn it. But it's not real.
It's not real. I mean, when you think about it, is any of it real? Is Christmas real?
Yeah.
Christmas is, it's not real.
Jesus' birthday or something? Yeah. Well, anyway, let's get into the list of games.
He's oh man, I don't know why that was so funny. All right,
guys. Remakes, remasters. The Last of Us Part 1. Actually, I already talked about that a little. We'll get back to that. We'll swing
we didn't
back
really talk about it.
No, we're gonna swing back to it.
That's fine. I'm just saying we didn't.
Let's just start off with Metroid Prime. It's a game that's brand new. I'm playing it for the first time, basically. I played Metroid Prime as a kid. Didn't get very far. I'm pretty sure I was such a stupid kid that I passed up where I was, like where I got as a kid in like the first 20 minutes of the game. Like I remember like getting stuck extremely early on as a kid and being like, wow, this is fun. I'm going to restart it and keep doing the beginning over and over. So yeah, this game got a major facelift. Did we talk about it last week at all? I don't think we did, right? We did a little.
We did.
I think it was just.
Did we not? I swear we did.
Oh no, the announcement.
We talked about the announcement
after the show.
Okay, yeah, it was right after the show.
Yeah.
So this game, honestly, aside from a few things that I feel like they would be easier nowadays, it feels so modern still. Like it's such an impressive game. And it's probably largely due to the controls, like the revamping of like it finally feels like a normal twin stick shooter. Well, not really twin stick shooter, but like the twin stick settings.
Using both sticks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really good. It feels very nice. It looks really nice. Like God, it looks great. And I was thinking, like, if Sony's going to consider something like The Last of Us a remake, which they reiterated over and over, and I honestly couldn't believe it, and then everyone just started accepting it, like everyone at The Last of Us remake. Is this not on par with that in terms of getting a facelift and getting these modern changes and it's kind of funny to me because Nintendo specifically calls it remastered in the title. They didn't call it Metroid Prime just to leave it open. They didn't call it Metroid Prime Remake or even like hint at that. They just simply called it Metroid Prime Remastered. So Sony and Nintendo have two different mindsets on this, because in my mind, these are two games that got very similar overhauls. Graphics,
sure.
number one. Some quality of life changes, number two, which it's because The Last of Us did get some AI stuff that was enhanced. I didn't really notice the difference playing through it, and then it also got some accessibility stuff added. And then Metroid Prime, the sound I think is a lot better because the sound sounds modern. It doesn't sound like a GameCube game unless it was just that good long ago. I honestly can't remember, but I feel like it got a major overhaul in the sound department. So first person I'm going to toss it to, John. What do you think about this remaster versus remake? And do you consider either of these a remake, or are they both simply remasters?
Between like Metroid and The Last of Us?
Yeah, we'll just talk about them right now.
I don't know, like my feeling kind of changes just sort of based on like the day, you know, like these descriptors are so similar and the meaning has just kind of like disintegrated.
Yeah.
So like
and it's because everyone uses different verbiage around their re-releases. There's remasters, they'll say remake, or they'll say like definitive edition, all that kind of stuff.
And nobody wants to just call their thing a straight port, even though half the time it is a straight port.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's when they whip out like definitive edition and it's like different. Like,
or you have a scenario.
They made it fit your aspect ratio of your TV and that's it.
Exactly. They up the resolution. Like early in the Xbox One and PS4 generation, we were constantly seeing either definitive edition or HD or all that kind of stuff. And one game that stood out to me that totally undersold itself, calling itself Definitive Edition, was Mafia. That game is a literal, full-blown remake from the ground up. Every single thing in that game is brand new, except the structure of the story. And they called it Definitive Edition. Could not believe that. That's like
so weird.
Didn't they even kind of flesh out some of the story too?
Yeah, it's actually way better. Like, it's really good, really fleshed out. Everything's totally different. All the acting's different, all the sound's different, the levels are different, the gameplay's different, literally everything. And they called it Definitive Edition right next to their Mafia 2 and 3 definitive editions that are literally simple ports. Right. So I don't know.
That is very weird.
It's so strange. They should have just called it Mafia or Mafia like remake or something.
Super
I don't
Mafia.
Know. And sorry to bring this up again, but I got to shout out one more because it just gets stranger and stranger before you talk. Then there's games like Final Fantasy VII Remake, which literally has the word remake in the title, but it's not really a remake. It's covering the first 3 hours of the original, and then the story-wise, it's basically a sequel. It's like a multiverse situation, so it's like that's not even a remake, and it's in the title. But I have noticed on the internet, people say, if you say like, give me a good remake example, they'll be like Final Fantasy VII, and I'm thinking, in what world is Final Fantasy VII Remake actually a remake? Like, it's not. I don't understand.
What if that is the only actual remake and all the others aren't remakes?
All the others are wrong.
That sounds like something that would be happening if it was written by the guy that wrote Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy VII. I can't remember his name.
Well, at the Escape,
Miyazaki? No, that's Soul's guy.
Nomura.
No,
Tetsuya Nomura.
Yeah, okay.
He's the Final Fantasy VII remake dude, yeah. But yeah, The Escapist just 2 days ago maybe we ran an article like talking. The author was arguing that like remakes are too timid, that they're not going far enough in changing things.
I didn't agree with that. Wait, was that Escapist or IGN?
Well, The Escapist ran an article like that. I
could have sworn IGN just put up the exact same one.
Maybe
are you calling him a liar?
No, I didn't hear him say Escapist at all. That's why I asked.
Lion John Frisha.
We'll go kick
like
IGN's asses.
Lion John, Lion Phil.
Lion
Get that
Phil.
Phil away from me. I'm legit. I tell the truth. Spit fire, and it burns with accuracy. But to get back to a topic of conversation from several minutes ago, I guess I agree with calling Metroid Prime a remaster, since it really does just seem to be like fixing up the visuals. Like as you already detailed what's different about it. Like I think I would kind of classify that as a remaster. I think to me, remake has to do with like some like major core element of like the game experience has to play beyond aesthetics, I think. So like for example, Crisis Core Reunion that came out, they called that a remaster, and a lot of people were like, "Isn't this more like a remake?" And I
that's a good example.
Well, yeah, but I agree with calling it a remaster though, because when you actually play this game, it's way more beautiful, but it is almost the exact same experience.
Like the bones and the
like
skeleton is exactly
yeah,
the
like
same,
they
yeah.
changed nothing about the story. Like everyone was wondering, like, what's gonna change? How does it fit into Final Fantasy VII Remake? It doesn't. They changed nothing. You're a stooge.
I mean, didn't they change the gameplay quite a bit though in terms of the smoothness of things, like and like the animations and all that stuff?
I mean, maybe, but like, I mean, it still basically plays the same. Like, I think they cleaned up like how you activate attacks a little bit.
Yeah.
And they also made it a little more lenient, where like if you died in a side mission, like that was it. But in like the remaster, it like starts you before that encounter, so like it's easier to keep trying again. But I mean, fundamentally, it's the same thing. So I agree with
Because
calling that a
gamers are
remaster.
soft now. That's why.
Yeah, bunch of wusses.
Okay, so it seems
Yeah.
like we're leaning more toward games like Metroid Prime Remastered and Final Fantasy Crisis Core, them being more remastered, and a game like Zelda Wind Waker HD, that's more of a remastered,
Yeah.
despite them adding things like gyro controls, they added faster sailing, they added a ton of quality of life stuff. I guess that
But
still
it's
falls in the category of a remaster.
basically the same game. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
remake is basically more like that Resident Evil territory. Like
That's
those
okay.
Right.
This
Resident
is
Evil 2.
this is where I'm different. This is where I might be different with you though, because
Okay.
Resident Evil 2 remake, it is
Was actually
like a
different.
full reimagining of the game, but it's nothing. But it's not really Resident Evil 2 if you're looking at it from what Resident Evil 2 was. Like it's nothing like that game except the setting and the characters. But like fundamentally everything else is different. So it's like a reimagining, but people don't really use that as
Okay.
in
See, like
the lingo,
reimagining tells me exactly what it is, though. It's like, okay, the same story, but reimagined. Cool. I can get rid of all the other junk.
Yeah, but all you ever hear though is remake and remaster, so that would fall more under the remake category.
No, that is a great point though, because when they announced that, which one was it? I think it's Alone in the Dark that's getting a reboot, right?
Oh yeah, that looks more like a
That game, I think they actually used the word reimagining for that one.
Oh, there we go.
So we've got remake, reboot, reimagining.
No reboot,
remaster.
No reboot.
Going too far. Reboot, I guess that would be like something like
My favorite.
Reboot's like God of
The
War,
TV
not
show
even God of War.
reboot
'cause
from the
That's
90s.
that's
So good.
It's awesome.
would reboot be Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider trilogy?
yes,
Would be
Brett.
a
Yeah.
reboot.
That's a reboot.
Yeah.
Okay, and okay. We're figuring this out. We need to get to the bottom of this stuff. All
Update
right.
Wikipedia
My
with our
feelers are
knowledge.
out there.
So a game like Ocarina of Time 3D remaster, even though it adds so much content and not content, but like quality of life, like out of this world. Like it plays so much better on 3DS, in my opinion. So that's still a remaster though, not like a remake, even though like every texture is different, just like The Last of Us, which is called a remake for some reason. I guess we're just straight up calling Sony out. It's not a fucking remake, it's a remaster.
Well, if we're being,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I haven't gone yet, but yeah, so far, anyways, yes.
Well, Brett, I have two other games on the list, and I'll just throw this to you. Games like Demon's Souls, The Last of Us Part 1, and Shadow of the Colossus, all major facelifts, no fundamental gameplay changes or reimaginings of any sort. So is that like how do you classify these games?
No,
Is there like a second tier remaster?
That's
Like
what I'm saying. Is like
a super remaster?
Like the line is so blurred. It's almost like impossible. Like it's so, I don't know. So like I went to Google and I typed in remake versus remaster, and this is literally the definition it gave me. It said a remake is a game recreated from the ground up with new assets, and a remaster is a game that retains all assets but is re-rendered at a higher resolution
Okay, okay, we're getting into different territory now. This changes everything.
Their controls.
Brett,
exactly.
That means if you just explain that, and that's true, games like frickin' Metroid Prime Remastered is a remake because they did change all the textures.
That's okay. So that's proven my point. Then
it's not just an up-res.
I do think The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake, but I also think that Metroid Prime is a remake as well. I think Nintendo was wrong by calling that a remake. By calling that a remaster, that should have been called a remake.
See, and the internet would be mad at you right now, like based on the comments I've seen, because if anyone says Metroid Prime Remake, immediately people are offended for some reason, and they're just like, it's a remaster. All they did was update the visuals. It's like, okay, I mean, there are a lot of games that just update the visuals. Like, I look at Wind Waker HD. Mary, I'll toss it to you real fast. In your eyes, is that a remake or a remaster? Because they fundamentally change a lot of gameplay stuff in the Wii U version, and the visuals are major overhaul. Like, not like crazy, but they look visually way more appealing.
To me, it's a remaster. Because like they add the fast sale, but I don't care about the fast sale. Like people are like, oh, it's a
gyro, Mary, gyro.
I don't care about that either.
Oh, God.
But to go to our Twitch chat, Elias has been saying about like, and maybe it's like a Metroid fan base thing, because with like Metroid remakes in the past, like they add a good amount of extra stuff to it. Like Zero Mission Samus Returns, Zero Mission adds an entire.
So that's a new element. It has to add new content to be a remake.
See, but even though there are quality of life stuff added to Metroid Prime Remaster, it's not enough for it to be a remake. But in my eyes, I'm like, it's such a beautiful game that they completely redid that I think Metroid Prime Remaster should be called a remake. Because
I'm playing it. I'm thinking. I mean, even when I was playing The Last of Us Part 1, it did look so good. Where I was like, okay, I finally get what they're saying. It looks so good that it's like, I'll give it to him. It's a remake. But now I'm playing Metroid, and I'm like, for the hardware, it's not the best looking game in the world. But considering the hardware, considering what the game used to look like, I'm so blown away by it, and it's at 60 frames, and I'm just like, this is like a full blown remake. But it's not. It's not. And neither is The Last of Us.
When you compare it to Nintendo's other remaster, which they may have just called this a port, but Skyward Sword that they did last year, I mean, technically they up-resed it a little bit, right? It looks a little bit better.
The definition that you read off
a little bit too. But
the definition that you read off, sorry.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say the definition that you read off would be something like, for the remaster, would be something like Skyward Sword HD, where they pretty much just up-resed it and maybe a high frame rate. Did it run at 60 on Switch? I think it might have.
I don't remember.
And that's all they pretty much did, aside from like altering the controls. Otherwise, exact same game. And that's what we got a lot early in the Xbox One and PS4 generation. Just these straight up ports with higher resolution that they called either Definitive Edition or HD or something like that.
And that's what a remaster, when I hear remaster, that's what a remaster feels like to me, is literally the exact same game, maybe just prettied up a little bit. And maybe there's a quality of life improvement in there as well. But a remake is when you can see like a dramatic change to either the visuals, or they've done something else that you can literally look at the original and almost have two different experiences. But like Skyward Sword is just the exact same game, maybe touched up a little bit. To me, that felt like a remaster. And the Metroid game, like you can tell, is a significant step up from the GameCube game. So
So Mary, is Metroid Zero Mission a remake or a remaster?
I'm the worst person to ask for this. I have spicy feelings towards that game.
What do you mean? That's the best one in the series. No,
it has excellent bomb jumps, but
I think that's one of the best remakes I've ever played.
I got so mad. At the end.
You struggled with the boss.
Right, that was actually on a list for best remakes ever.
Yeah, I loved it.
That I looked at, and I was like,
I was never that big on Zero Mission.
No, but like, okay, this game's like 20 years old now, so I'm gonna spoil it. I had no idea about the added portion. Actually, I don't even have to spoil it, but the added thing that they added, the zero part, I had no idea that was coming. So that was really scary. Like,
I didn't either.
You feel really vulnerable in the Zero suit. So I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's scary.
fought the final boss, threw my controller down, was watching the credits roll, thought I was done, and then it was like, here you go. No, you're not done. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh my god.
So,
What an amazing
no, but now
game.
I'm thinking about like Mass Effect Legendary Collection. Like Mass Effect
1.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
It
a
was
remake in my eyes.
Yes, because it was completely rebuilt in the engine that Mass Effect 3 was done in. And the Mass Effect 3 got like just an up-res because that's all it needed. But like Mass Effect 1 did not age well. It was an ugly game by today's standards. But with the Legendary Collection, it's beautiful. Like it's such a gorgeous game.
I took so many screenshots, and it's the only one of that trilogy that had like open planets. So they had actually had to do a ton, because before all them planets were just ugly, terrible looking textures that you can drive around on. But they like really had to go in and like add a bunch of foliage and stuff. So yeah, so this is a good example. Mass Effect 1, I feel like, does so much to enhance the original game that I do view that as more of a remake. Whereas in that same trilogy, 2 and 3, those are just more like remasters to me.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting somewhere. By somewhere, I mean absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we making progress?
You know what's funny? You know what's funny too? Go back to The Last of Us is the original Last of Us remaster. I almost felt like it was just more of a port. Like to be completely honest, I didn't feel like that remaster was that much of a step forward.
By the definition that you read, though, it was just an enhancement on some of the textures and some of the lighting and whatnot, and it was mainly just the resolution bump, for real, and the frame rate bump.
Exactly, and that would fall into like a remaster category. But like everyone's like, oh, they already remastered it. Why would they remaster it again? Well, I think that shows you the difference right there between a remaster and a remake, because that didn't feel like much of a difference from the original, and the Last of Us Part 1 felt like a huge change from the original. So I don't know.
Eric said in the comments a while ago, I didn't read it, Demon's Souls was remade from scratch. Is that true? Because it feels so similar to the original. Like, why wouldn't they just use the skeleton of the original Demon's Souls at that point? And to remake it from scratch, that seems like just so much work. But anyway, it felt like the same to me.
Didn't they do both games?
But even then, if you're recreating something so meticulously that it feels exactly like the original game, is it even a remake at that point?
Now that's philosophical.
Now you're back into that gray area
of the what's the name? The ship of
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, from
we're literally discussing the ship of Theseus thought experiment now. It's still the same ship after you've replaced all the parts.
Yeah, like even though you've started over from scratch and rebuilt the exact same thing, it's still the same.
I wonder too, like, are marketing meetings this intensive when it comes to what they're titling the games?
That's what I'm wondering.
No, it's not.
Because
like call it a remake.
Have you ever been in a marketing meeting?
If I was
one thing of this font right here looks a little funny. Maybe we should try this color. Maybe we should change.
That'll take 6 months. Let's just do that.
What's the turnaround time on this?
Yep. Well, yeah. What were we just talking about? So if I was in a marketing,
I was going to make a point there.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Just to say that like the definition to me has been lost somewhere in between marketing speak and like, marketing in terms of like being able to sell a version of a game on a new system that's not called a port. I mean, they feel like they have to call it something to get people, to entice people to buy the same game again, which Nintendo has seamlessly done generation after generation.
So this is me in a marketing meeting. I'm thinking Remastered has a stigma attached to it. Like we've seen those dozens of times, especially early on, like I said, in the PS4 and Xbox One generation.
The remaster is almost like an eye roll, like, okay.
If I'm about to relaunch Metroid Prime, I either call it Metroid Prime, that's it. You just see the difference. You see the visuals, that's all you need. Or add a little spin on it. Something like Metroid Prime, some word, like some type of
deluxe edition.
No, not that. Something like
not
Metroid
Kirby,
Prime,
okay.
Not Fusion, because that's obviously another Metroid game, but something like that, Metroid Prime Fusion. You know what I mean? Just like add a little spice to it.
Everybody shot themselves in the foot because everyone should have just kept following the Capcom strategy of 30 years ago with Street Fighter 2. You just keep adding one word and keep releasing it over and
Yes.
over again. You could have had The Last of Us Turbo, Super The Last of Us 2.
I think
I think Super The
Guacamelee
Last of Us is
made
my
fun of
favorite.
that. It was Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition.
Awesome. See, that's all you needed to do. All these morons are overthinking things.
It just
Metroid
makes it
Prime.
easier, yeah.
Eric says Metroid Prime, you can finally move and aim edition.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
that's the
there you
Wii
go.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wii
Yeah.
version. That counts.
That was the first version I played of this.
Right.
Metroid Prime
okay, you
dual
played the
stick
Wii.
wiggle.
Mary, I was wondering what version you played because I heard about the GameCube controls and they seemed awful. I don't remember them.
I played the Wii, like the whole trilogy on Wii, like for my very first experience, and then I went and I played a little bit with the GameCube, and I was like, okay, this feels different, but like the switching of like the visors and the weapons felt really good. But then actually like playing start to finish and also doing a multi-world at the same time, it's hard. It was a lot of adapting on the go to certain things.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like I'm playing the game on normal and it's mostly been pretty good because there's a casual mode, which for people who don't know, the casual mode is actually the mode that launched on the Wii version. They actually made the game easier. But now in this version, you got the casual mode, which is the Wii's difficulty, and then the normal mode, which is the GameCube's difficulty. And I feel like the game isn't built around doing what I'm doing in the game, which is straight up jumping and dashing and shooting like a first person shooter nowadays. Like the enemies don't know how to react to someone who can like just straight up jump around and shoot everywhere. So I'm just like destroying these things and they just can't touch me because I feel like you can be way more mobile now in this version.
I've been concerned about that. Yeah, like I'm wondering, like eventually I will play this, and like I'm thinking, like maybe I should just stick with like a GameCube style setup again.
They
But
have it.
I
They
don't
have
know.
the
Yeah, I
original
know.
controls, which is cool.
Like,
Oh, they
and
do.
I did play the original Metroid Prime, and I loved it. Like that was a 10 out of 10 game to me. That like I couldn't believe how well they translated a 2D series to 3D like that. It's just mind-bogglingly good. But then I just
Yeah.
kind of got bored with the sequels because they were just sort of the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm
We don't
scared
talk
of.
about Prime 2. Prime 2.
You don't like Prime 2?
Mm-mm.
I thought everyone loved that one.
I got like
Mm-mm. I
halfway
do
into it
not.
and I just stopped. Like it wasn't like a dramatic like I'm done playing this. It was just sort of like, I don't feel
I
like
got
kinda
this.
ran
so
its course.
lost.
He did the John Quitta.
Yeah.
We need to coin that term. John
John
Quitta.
Quitta.
I just pictured John playing, and he's like playing, and all of a sudden he's like,
He's like, "Yep, I'm done."
leaves, he just quits.
Zero thought. He's like, "I've had enough." Why'd you quit?
I need a
I don't know.
sandwich.
I just didn't really want to.
I didn't do that, but with Metroid Prime 3 on the Wii, I think that was like a Christmas present years and years ago. That actually was a game where like I played it once and I was like, I'm never touching this again. And that was it. So
Horizon Forbidden West it.
Yeah.
I stuck with that longer.
Wested.
Yeah, I know you
Wested.
did.
Well,
You wested it.
Metroid Prime 3, I think, took you to like different worlds and stuff, and like that felt like
Mhm.
antithetical to my Metroid experience. I was like, I'm not doing this. So
Oh,
that was
I
my
didn't know that.
extremely arbitrary reason for not playing the game.
No, but I liked it. I
How
liked
dare you try
Prime-
something
Prime
new?
3 was my
Yeah,
favorite of the Prime
exactly.
ones.
All right, well that's cool.
I'm just happy that I'm finally getting through the series slowly but surely. I
I
played
wonder
through Zero
wonder
Mission
if-
and then what?
I was gonna say, I wonder if they'll give the same treatment to 2 and 3, seeing
Yeah,
how
that's
well
the
this has
rumor.
been received.
Yeah.
It is okay.
And other 3.5 or 2.5, 3.5, whatever it is.
I wonder if they'll touch
Elias
Other
help.
M.
I hope they do.
Other M, I feel like
think
would
it's
play
worth it.
as a really good game
Yeah.
Oh,
on
it would
Switch
look
because
gorgeous.
oh, it's actually still really pretty. I just played through the game last year for the first time ever, and I was like impressed.
Yeah. The only thing
but-
weird about it was the Wiimote, having to use a Wiimote like a pro controller.
That's what I'm. It was
And
weird because
pointing
you,
it at the screen
you had to.
shoot
You're
the
playing
missiles.
it. Yeah, you're playing it long ways, and then to shoot, you did this.
Yeah,
But on
like-
Switch, if you're just using the Pro controller,
Yeah, you
you could
hold
do
it.
everything, and then gyro for aiming if you want, or the right stick. I feel like it would still work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that game would probably find a decent audience if it came to Switch, because it probably got major overlooked. I know it wasn't received great, but
Yeah, I will say it's not the favorite.
yeah.
But
Base-
the baby.
Exactly.
What?
The
That
baby.
was like the meme about the
Yeah.
game. The
yeah.
baby.
How many times does Samus say the baby?
I was
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I've seen that.
I was pretty intrigued in the story in like the first 15 minutes, and then it lost me. Like I just lost the plot, and I wasn't able to follow it the entire time. 'Cause it was just going nuts.
What?
I mean,
It was
I don't
acting
recall
crazy.
it being that complicated a story, but it's
There's like some guy, I don't know. I just stopped paying
Try
attention.
playing Metal Gear Solid as a 13-year-old. I was
Yeah,
so
exactly.
lost the whole time. I was like, "This game's amazing." Like, what it's about? What's it about? I have no idea, but it's awesome.
But it's amazing.
It's so good.
That's a good topic. Like we should talk about games sometime that we played as a kid that we had that we either thought we understood but then didn't until we were older, or like a game that we just straight up hated until
Yeah.
we played when we were
That's
older.
me with Ocarina of Time.
You didn't like it?
No, no, it's not that I didn't like it. I didn't know what it was because, like, well,
okay.
I'll keep it short. I thought it was a horse game because my older cousin, just handed me the controller.
Barbie Dream Adventure.
Yeah, I was little, and so my older cousin just gave me the controller and let me run around like the ranch, like on the horse, and I was like, "It's a horse game." And then years later, I was like,
I
"Wait
don't
a
understand
second."
this. How old could you have been? I beat that game in '99. Like you're older than me, so this doesn't make sense.
Just like 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
I was just a babe 5 years ago.
Can I play the horse game with the Lon milk, please?
Yeah.
Can I do that?
I just don't understand your timeline of life. I don't understand.
She's reverse
I don't either.
aging.
Yeah.
Reverse aging.
That was-
Okay,
Hey,
so
but where does in terms of like The Last of Us, where does The Last of Us remaster come in? PS3
that's a
to
remaster.
PS4.
It was
Remaster.
yeah,
Straight up
PS3, PS4.
perfect example
Tried
of
and
a
true
remaster.
remaster.
Actually, guys, I'm gonna do this real fast just to get to the bottom of. I feel like we've gotten to the bottom of things. Here's the list.
I feel like
The
this is
Last of Us-
an episode of Seinfeld. What's the deal with remasters these days? Is it a remake? Is it a remaster? Who knows?
All
Hey,
right, here we go.
Jerry, he called it a remaster.
All right, here we go.
Have you been practicing that?
The Last of Us Part 1 is a remake. The Last of Us Remastered is a remaster. Ocarina of Time 3D is a remake. Mafia Definitive
What?
Edition is a reimagining.
You've been
Zelda
hitting
Wind
the
Waker
sauce.
is a remake. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a sequel. Demon
Wait,
Souls.
is this Brett's
a
list
remake.
or
Yes.
a real list? Okay.
This is the list. This is the list. Shadow of the Colossus
Mary
It's a
in her head
remake.
is like, "Fuck you, no, it's not." Fuck you.
Metroid
no, it's
Prime
not. Okay, I'll
Remastered.
pass.
is a remake. Sleeping Dogs and Vanquish and Bayonetta are remasters.
Man, Sleeping Dogs is the greatest game. So here's another thing with Final
You
Fantasy.
should just be
VII.
leading the marketing meeting.
I'm just saying, I feel like we got to the bottom of it, which is like
there's
if it
an-
does any. Sorry, Brett.
There's another term that I've heard on a podcast that they refer to Final Fantasy VII Remake as almost a remix of different. Of
We
it
can't
could be a
introduce
remake.
another term, Brett.
It's-
I forgot,
it could
but
be-
remix is a well-known term.
It
Is
is.
it?
So it's
not,
you
though.
know,
It
It's
is
kind of like a
Remix.
remix between a remake and it's like adding to it, but it stays true to the original. So it's like a remix.
You're thinking of
two.
a remakester, which is a combination of the two.
Now you're just making
Some
shit
shit
up.
No, but a remakester, or what you're saying, a remix, would be something to me like Zelda Wind Waker, where it's like they did pretty significant changes that are valuable to the gameplay, and they did a huge graphical overhaul.
Not.
But it's not a remake; it's a remaster. But it's more of like the in between, just like frickin' what's another one? Ocarina of Time 3D. They changed the game. They changed it's better in my opinion.
What about
What's
a
different? I guess that's all that matters.
Link's Awakening? What would that fall under for you guys?
Remake.
A remake?
But
Remake,
it's
yeah.
more of a
Oh, yeah.
remaster. I mean, it's the same skeleton basically.
But it
Let's
got
be
a
honest,
major
guys.
overhaul
Yeah.
in graphics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
does
that's like a
the-
ground up. They couldn't start from a Game Boy game to get to that. Like,
I mean, So what you're saying is if it's ground up, then it's considered a remake. So a game like The Last of Us is a remake to you.
I think if you give a game a whole
No.
new dimension,
Exactly,
it becomes a
Mary.
remake
I
by
knew I'd
default.
catch you with that one. What, John?
I think if you give a game a brand new dimension, it becomes a remake by default.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Live
You've added a
I
whole
agree
Alive.
with that.
dimension.
Live Alive
That's
is a
why
remake.
Live Alive is considered a remake. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they kind of like rebalance the whole thing too. So it's not actually, it looks extremely similar, but like the gameplay is actually a different experience.
Okay.
Yeah, this should be like the litmus test for each of them. Like, does it check this many boxes in this column? Okay. Whoo! I don't have to worry about that anymore.
But
But
if
also,
I were
like-
these developers, I just wouldn't call
Dude-
them anything specifically. I just let people
But,
think
like,
what they think.
Definitive edition used to mean it was like the edition that has all the DLCs, all the expansions, all the skins.
Right.
That's what it used to mean. Like you buy the like game of the year or the definitive edition.
Yeah, I know.
at the end of
That's
the
why
cycle.
Mafia was an idiot. The people who made the game. Like,
You made a
let's-
great game, you idiots.
let's make this ground up, fully freaking from the ground up, like fully remake. And let's call it definitive edition. Make people think that it's our PS1 game with all the freaking extra content from freaking 2001 or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Mm.
Crazy. All right. I think that's enough on the remake topic.
A lot of them.
We did exactly what I hoped, which was just not figure out anything and just disagree
Just
the whole
one
time.
giant circle jerk.
Can I leave it on one more game that I just
Yeah.
thought of? The Kingdom Hearts games. They're not a remix, they are the final mix.
Oh,
We're throwing
so-
in more
God.
terms and everything.
God.
So that's like the whole.
See-
Yeah. Okay. So that's like.
I
wait.
feel,
So
I feel
what
like
was the
unless
final
re
mix?
is in front of it, it doesn't count. There has to be re. So if you want to say re final mix, then sure, yeah.
Because they added like endings and stuff.
Okay. Well, now we're getting into new territory, Mary. So remix. that would be a remix to me,
I
right
think
there.
that'd be like a remix. It's the original, but then adding to it.
It's
And
only
then we're
a
getting into-
remix though if someone has like a cool hat that they're wearing and they're b-boys dancing.
And they
Yeah.
have a they're a DJ.
Beastie
right?
Boys are playing in the background.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Versus like NES Remix, which is like an actual like mashup.
Literally,
of,
like a
all
different
mini
game.
games.
Yeah.
Genuinely a remix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would
Well-
like a game like? So it's like what are these Game Boy Advance games on Switch? Are they considered anything? Ports?
You just put advanced to it.
They're they are
Ports.
up-resed, so they're technically remasters. I
Super
mean,
Mario Land 2, Advance, Super Mario Land 2. Yeah.
Greg, let's not go down that rabbit hole of Nintendo's weirdest naming scheme of all time.
But see, like you were saying, to add something in front of it, like like you were saying, like Fusion or whatever. I figured Square would
Metroid
be
Prime
the one-
Eclipse is what they should have called it, and had a secret ending. There you go, boom.
Yeah, but I feel like Square would have been the one to do that with Final Fantasy.
No, if it was Final Fantasy, it'd be
anything.
Final Fantasy 7.3/5 Moonlight Daylight
Yeah.
Secret.
That's
Like,
Kingdom Hearts. That's the Kingdom Hearts.
Retrograde
game.
narcolepsy.
yeah, that is more Kingdom
Go-
Hearts.
Go fuck yourself edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Pay
that's the
$69 for that.
that's the South Park special edition. Except it would be like go fuck. The fuck would be like PHAUK. All right, guys, let's get into the other topics. That was a fun topic. I'm glad we did that. Metroid Prime, I talked about it quite a bit, so I won't talk about it too much longer, but it's a really good remake-ster. That's what I'm gonna call it. I feel like I don't know if they enhanced the sound, but if they didn't, the sound is like so impressive. Like walking through these like honestly kind of spooky sometimes, like corridors where it's like you hear like her metal boots hitting the ground and there's some music playing that's like kind of scary. I can see like I could picture a game like Dead Space taking inspiration from Metroid Prime. I don't know if they did, but just playing those two games back to back, I'm like there are some similarities here. Especially with Dead Space, the new one I think adds more Metroidvania style stuff. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, the gameplay, like I said, it feels like I'm like taking advantage of the game by being able to do like the twin sticks, like jumping around, flying, and shooting at the same time. But it's fun. I feel like as Samus, which is how you're supposed to feel, you're constantly getting stronger and stronger. And I just got the purple suit. Maybe I got something else after that. I can't remember, but I'm pretty far into the game. I'm gonna try and beat it in the next few days. Probably like almost halfway, or maybe around halfway. And yeah, the visuals are just fantastic. Can't stress that enough. The game, I think it's one of the best looking Switch games, and it's really crazy considering that it runs at 60 FPS. Yeah,
it looks that good.
Yeah,
I haven't actually booted it up.
It looks incredible.
And you have to take into account that not many Nintendo first party games or Switch games in general that push the hardware are aiming for realism. Not that Metroid Prime's a super realistic world, but it is more of like realistic in some ways than every other Nintendo IP basically. So the fact that they're
file size on it,
I'm not sure. I didn't look. Sorry. I could probably look it up real fast, but
well, I was just thinking in comparison to like how we said Tears of the Kingdom was what 18 gigs. It's their largest.
Twitch chat says about 6 gigs.
Oh,
holy shit! What?
I mean, it's not nothing. It's not like a massive open world like Switch, but I also realize that like the content of the game never really matters with the file size. Like there could be a tiny indie game that's like freaking 6 gigs for some reason. It doesn't even make sense. Just depends on how small they decide to make the file, I guess, or however small they can get it. But yeah, the game's awesome. I'm a bounty hunter. It's fun, and yeah, that's all. I guess we'll just move on to the next one. I feel like I had plenty more, but I might do like a full video on Metroid Prime on the YouTube channel, on this YouTube channel. What, Brett?
I was just gonna say I'm excited to play it. I'm so backed up because I don't know why Dead Space took me way longer than it should have, but I just beat that and started on Hogwarts. And Hogwarts is not a short game, so I'm probably going to be a little bit before I get to it. But I'm excited because I always heard like so many people would talk about like in their top games ever. Like I hear Metroid Prime so often, so I'm really excited to play it.
The only thing I think you're going to dislike is the fact that there's no checkpoints. So if you don't save and you do a whole bunch, you go back to your save.
It's kind of like a lot of Metroidvanias are, though, right? I mean, like most of them.
Yeah,
don't really
it just
have
can be
checkpoints.
kind of annoying sometimes. Like if you run across the map, like all the way across, and because there's no fast traveling, which is, I wish they added like some type of modernized mode that added fast traveling. It would have made it like so much quicker to like get around. But I guess that kind of defeats what the whole like I don't know the heart of the game was, the fact that you had to travel everywhere. But yeah, I feel like you're not gonna like that. But if you play on casual mode, I'm not saying you're a casual, but I feel like you might have a better time not having to worry about dying, like and then going back really far. There was only like one scenario where it was super intense. I actually need to bring this up. There's a section where the electric goes out, and then you get a visor that lets you see in the dark. But then you're just being attacked by space pirates for like freaking 15 minutes straight as you're walking back to the nearest save point. And my health was so low, and there's like freaking these turrets on the walls that shoot at you. So I'm getting attacked by space pirates and turrets, and it's in the dark. So I'm using the night vision. I was actually like really intense. Like, so that was really fun. And I didn't die, so that actually made it fun and not aggravating. But yeah, I think you're gonna like it if you stick with it. I don't know. I know you, Brett, and I feel like you're gonna get lost, and you're gonna be like, I don't feel like playing a Metroidvania. I don't know where to go.
I gotta say, like that's been my biggest issue, and you nailed it. Like I struggle to stay engaged with Metroidvanias. I don't know why, but I really want to give this a chance because of like I've heard it talked about so many times. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna like stick with it, even if I'm annoyed or like whatever, because I think it's gonna be a good experience. But
thankfully so far there's only been like 2 scenarios where it's like I've been like there's no way I would have known to do that unless I looked up a guide, and that's exactly what I did. I looked up a guide to figure out what I was supposed to do next, and it was like go on this thing on my ball and drop early to get to a new section that I didn't know was there. It's like, how would I have known that? But yeah, it's good. And the visuals, oh my gosh.
By the way, shout out to Raish Al Ghul in the YouTube chat from London. I don't know if we've had anyone from London. I mean, maybe we have, but I don't think anyone's ever said in chat they're from London, so that's pretty cool.
Potentially.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah. And also, this is like way after the fact, but Franco in our YouTube chat mentioned a while ago that he said Digital Foundry said that the Metroid Prime remaster was made in a new engine that Retro put together.
Oh, so we're back.
Oh,
like-
really?
It's a remake, right,
See,
Mary?
John,
Right,
why'd
Mary?
you have to do that? Come on, man.
So, it's cool that they went that extra mile, and if they're
Dude.
doing like a whole new engine, then that would imply that it would be quite a bit easier than to move on to doing 2 and 3 if all of
My
those
question
tools
is-
exist.
See, fuck all the marketing speak. Talk to the dev team.
My question is
Yeah.
though,
Did
is
you
like,
rebuild this?
I mean, I feel like the $40 price point was probably because they have 2 more in the pipeline probably fairly soon. Because the rumor was that this game's been finished for like almost 2 years or something, which I would believe.
Fuck.
And they probably already done with
Why?
the next ones.
That
But my
makes me so
question is,
mad.
I don't get
My question
that.
is-
Fucking Nintendo is so weird.
I don't like if the other 2 are coming out, they have to be coming fairly soon or else Metroid Prime's still like 2 years away. Like they have to release these in the next.
I mean, it
year.
sure could be.
Hopefully.
I'm confused why they didn't do the trilogy, but probably so they could put a $40 price tag on each
On
individual
each,
game
yeah, for
instead
sure.
of a $60
And then
price
bundle.
tag on 3.
So the
That's exactly
Emily
what it was.
Rogers version of events, who was the first one to like give like an accurate reporting of things, aside from like some random guy on Reset Era that nobody listened to until like a year after the fact. Apparently they focused on just doing the first one at first, just to like, I don't know, I guess like that was what they had the scope for, to do this game. And then like 2 and 3 were kind of becoming like maybes based on like how far they were able to get with 1. So like, I don't think it was necessarily a case of them cheaping out this time. It might have genuinely been a case of like, this was a vast undertaking, redoing everything more or less from scratch for this first one. So like continuing on to 2 and 3 is things they can do, but it's not necessarily all things that are done right at this instant. Could be wrong. I mean, we're all just dealing in like rumors and reports and whatnot, but like, it doesn't sound like they're nickel and diming us to death this time. It sounds like it's genuinely a case of like scoping for the work they can get done. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm very curious how they're going to roll out the rest of these if they do, and then along with Metroid Prime 4, because I feel like a lot of people might be Metroid Primed out by then. Like maybe just the first one, and then 4 is all they've really needed. Like,
Yeah.
and then maybe the other one's down the line or something. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But if sorry, go ahead.
No, just because I think it's weird how different companies are with this stuff. Like you said with Mafia was a perfect example. Like they remade the first one and it was so good, and then they just ported 2 and 3. They ported 2, 3 was out.
But they did like a special edition for 3,
right
at
and
the same time. Yeah,
it wasn't that far after it had released anyway, so they probably didn't need to do much to that. But 2, like they didn't do anything to that game. Like it was
just
rough.
a HD port. Yeah.
2 was rough, and I still enjoyed it. But why did they put all this work into 1 and then put out just a port of 2
And then name them
you
the
know,
same
release
thing.
3? Yeah, it's
HD in
so
the
weird.
title seems so antiquated now too.
Yeah, because
Right,
like things
1
have
was a
technically been
total
HD
overhaul.
since
Yeah.
like
That
Xbox
just-
360.
That's 1080p to me.
That's like 720p
Like
to me. I mean, HD, like that's what it was back in the day.
Yeah.
What sucks is I'd never played any of them, and I played all 3 in like a month or whatever. And I actually it had the best time with 2, and that's the one that they put the least amount of work into. So it sucks. Like I feel like they could have put extra work into that. It could have been something special, but it's just very weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. I do like the idea. Actually, I did want to mention my favorite form of like remaster remake is what Metroid Prime did. Like it's still the same game, but it feels modern, looks more modern, and it's still like pretty much the same experience that someone would have had all that time ago. Whereas a game like Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's a totally different experience. Like it's not the same game. It's the same characters and setting, but like it's not the same. Whereas this is literally the same. I would have
kind of
preferred
like Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
exactly.
the same game, but it's very, very different.
But at least there's the option out there to play Resident Evil 4 in HD.
Yeah,
without
2 and 3 and all them are abandoned.
HD's nuts.
Like
Zero's HD.
What modern platforms is there any modern platform that 2 and 3 are available on, like the originals?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I would imagine they're on some form of the PlayStation
Yeah,
network.
they might be on the PS2.
I think
classics
I've seen
on
it
PlayStation.
PS3 maybe.
Yeah,
I
but
think
that,
they were
that
on
don't
PS
count
Now for a
as
while
modern.
when PS Now was still a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're on. They might be on PS4 and 5 as PS2 classics. At least the first one is like the original first one. I don't remember if 2 and 3 are though. But yeah,
I don't know, man.
weird. I remember Capcom had like a quote where they were like, "We want people to just play the new ones." Basically, is what they said. Like they're like,
Yeah.
"These are the Resident Evil 2s now. Like this is Resident Evil 3 now. This is Resident Evil 2 now." It's like,
It makes
okay, well, I mean,
sense.
they're way different. Like they're totally different games.
It makes sense, but at the same time, like the original is what I fell in love with. Those are the games that I played growing up that made me love gaming. So it's like
Yeah,
I
same.
also want like my son to experience that because like that was something so special to me. So I get it. The new ones are probably better, but like the originals were special for a reason too. So yeah.
I mean, if I had it my way, Resident Evil 2 Remake would have been the same exact game, just with amazing visuals. Like literally the exact same. The fixed camera angles, everything the same. Maybe redo the voices with the same actors. Redo the voice acting to make it sound better because like the audio quality was terrible.
Pipe
But obviously
dream.
that's not. Yeah, that's never gonna happen. That's just like what I would want.
I don't know. I think that it's hard because you have to cater to so many generations of gamers, and you have to still keep progressing your franchise forward, and you can't rely on something that was released in 1998 to hold any weight now. And so you have to provide like this younger, because I mean I could see the original getting, like, say, the original Resident Evil 2 tank controls intact, just gets a new skin, then it just gets beaten to shit by critics and like, this is the same
Right.
game just with a fresh coat of paint. I can't believe they did this. They should have reimagined
all
this.
talk
Like, blah
just
blah
like
blah
that.
blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
They're all the same.
That same fucking annoying voice.
All these
Yeah.
weeb reviewers.
Counterpoint to remaking games for a modern audience, a game that has been ported, I don't think it's ever been remastered officially, Chrono Trigger. That game holds up very well, so you don't have to remake a game for a modern audience for people to enjoy it.
I mean, Mary,
Well, I feel
as
like
much
that's
as I
also
want to
case by
agree
case
with you, I
basis.
can't. Because what type of kids booting up Chrono Trigger and loving it? That's what I'm
The
wondering.
smart
I played it
ones.
for okay,
The same ones that played
yeah.
it as kids.
Yeah, okay. I played it for the very first time like 3 years ago.
You're
thinking
not a
there's
kid,
no way-
Mary.
Yes, I am. I'm like
She's
8
a
years old,
kid.
remember?
Oh.
I think the big difference
I'm
is
the
that's all we
baby.
had back then. Now there's the options. There's these like amazing, grandiose experiences. So it's hard for a kid to all of a sudden dumb things down and go back to like an old school RPG or something like that. So
Honestly,
like, I get it.
Yeah, you're
Nowadays,
just gonna get
any-
some dumb kid playing the same Metroid Prime level over and over again, restarting it.
That's what I'm
That is
wondering though,
you,
Greg. Like, I always wonder, like, do any of these games that aren't Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox appeal to kids? Like, is there a 10-year-old playing Metroid Prime right now and like loving it? Like, that's what I'm wondering.
Maybe.
Because like anytime I see a kid that's not playing like a super duper popular or casual type game, I'm proud of them. It's like, oh look, they're playing
Yeah.
Super Mario Odyssey. Like, even though that's a very like obviously a kid's game, very popular, it's like at least it's not Fortnite. At least they're playing like a real game.
I think once they get to like young kids as like chapter books, I think that's when it starts to like really, like, hey, I like this game because it has a character like the book I'm reading, and I can actually digest these words that are on the screen that aren't, just, because you can't expect a first or second grader to understand the storyline in Metroid Prime or Resident Evil.
No, but
I think
Greg, you
once,
say
like-
that, but we were
But
that
once
age.
they're getting out of that,
Yeah.
We were that age playing those
I
types of
understand
games.
that, but like, that was really all that was available. It was like Elmo's
Exactly,
like
that's my
counting
point.
1, 2, 3, or like
We didn't have
Resident
any
Evil
other
2, and
options.
I chose Resident
Exactly.
Evil 2.
Right.
Like, it's just I feel bad that I got to experience Ocarina of Time and Resident Evil 2 and all these amazing games whenever I was 8 years old, 9 years old.
That's when
And then
everything was rated kids to adult. Like they was all just
Exactly.
like K
Yeah.
to A.
Yeah.
And then nowadays, like every kid has access to the only games that all kids play, which is the big three that I just named.
yeah.
And obviously, there's
No,
more.
that's
I'm,
my
I'm-
nephew.
I'm exaggerating, but and there's obviously
I-
kids that enjoy this stuff, but I'm just saying I don't see it very often.
I think my son, who's 13, is right in the middle. He's just about to break through because, like, he plays a ton of Fortnite and like that Sons of the Forest with his friends, or the Forest game. And I
Yeah.
think Sons of the Forest is the
Sequel's
sequel.
about to come out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Ark, games like that where you just play with friends. But he also his favorite game of all time is The Last of Us, and he loves all the Resident Evil games, and he plays Tomb Raider. So like he's like right in the middle. Like I feel like he's just about to the point where he's gonna get away from like only wanting to play stuff with his friends and like starting to like delve into like campaign based, story based, RPG style stuff as well. So
isn't that the weirdest thing though? Now that meme is like literally become reality. They're like, hey, it's the guy from Fortnite. When it really is, it's like Kratos.
Yeah, the guy from Fortnite. Yeah, that's true though, man.
Samus was one of the highly rumored Fortnite people for so long, and it never happened.
I thought in those like court case documents, it showed that they actually had plans to like pitch to bring her into Fortnite, but they never got to.
Why would they not?
It was
do
just
that?
it was like a hypothetical proposal that never
Yeah.
actually went anywhere.
I wonder if
like
they're
a pitch deck
saving
or
it for
something.
Prime 4,
Right.
like to ramp up that hype. That'd be smart. Get kids interested. Right when Prime 4 hits.
discussion.
I think Nintendo has way too much of an FU attitude to ever go along with something like that. It's
Oh yeah,
like-
because they haven't done anything crazy.
Mm-mm.
It's
I
I
don't
think
so-
they have.
'Cause
Sony
they're-
put God of War, Xbox put Master Chief, like, but Nintendo hasn't
Oh,
done
that's
anything.
right.
Wait, Master
Yeah.
Chief is on Fortnite?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Oh.
in
Yeah,
the
you could
PlayStation
show how much
version.
I care.
You could have
I mean-
could have Master Chief and Kratos in the same match.
Dabbing
can you not
together.
play? Yeah, dabbing together.
And see, Nintendo's attitude will eternally be, why would we participate in that? We have our own channels. We have no reason to cooperate with these other people.
They have Smash.
We have our own things. Yeah. well, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Oh,
Smash
no.
is their Fortnite.
I feel like it actually would gain interest. Like, it would actually get kids interested in the
Oh, yeah.
IP.
I'm not
for
saying
sure.
it wouldn't work. I'm saying
yeah,
Nintendo
okay.
doesn't care.
they just have that. We don't need to do that attitude. Yeah,
But
I get
also,
what you're
like,
saying.
what character can you really send over to Fortnite other than Samus? Like, you're not going to put Mario.
Zelda?
You're not going to give him a
Can you
gun.
imagine? Or
Sheik.
not Zelda. I mean, Link. Can you imagine? if
Sheik
Link
would be
was on
awesome.
there?
I
That'd
mean,
be-
Mario has
I
a
would
gun
maybe
in,
buy
in
the
that
Link
Rabbids game,
skin.
doesn't he?
He would have to be
Does
so
he?
weirdly
Yeah.
Not
shaped
like-
to be in Fortnite.
Not like.
He would have to be shaped like a man, like an actual man, to make
I
sense.
just got
Yeah.
sniped by Mario.
The like
Me.
Twitch chat was saying, like the deal.
motherfucker.
Is that Mickey Mouse?
Woohoo! A second Maya. Okay, I don't want to finish.
Mary, what were you
What were you
saying?
No, I was gonna
Mary?
say I forgot about this part that Twitch chat brought up, that like Samus would be a playable character on non-Nintendo platforms, and Epic didn't want to make Samus a Switch exclusive, which is a very Nintendo move to do, to be like, yeah, you can put Samus in Fortnite, but only on the Switch version.
That's what Rocket League does. The Mario
Yeah.
cars and stuff, like in the Switch
Mhm.
version, if someone's using a Mario car, you can see it in the Switch version, but if you're on like another platform, it just shows up as a different car.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't
That's
know that.
so Nintendo.
That's
I
so
hate it.
stupid. My
Eric's
God.
fast with the Rocket League stuff. It's already on
Is it,
screen.
Yeah, he's
is
on
it just
top of it.
because they don't want people to like data mine the designs and stuff, and then
They're
It's
just
Nintendo.
mods.
That's the reason.
He's
Yeah,
just like a
it's
grumpy
Yeah,
old
Nintendo
man that doesn't want to
character.
play nice.
yeah, Nintendo character, Nintendo platforms only. Screw PlayStation and Xbox. You can't have our Samus.
That's why I'm
I
still
know that.
surprised.
Hurry up and put more games on the Switch.
I'm still
Yeah.
surprised that they ever did mobile. And now they're sort of not really doing
Yeah.
it all that much anymore. Like, it was like a big initiative of theirs for a while, and then the Switch blew up, so they're like, we don't really need to
I
keep
still
doing
think in
mobile.
Nintendo,
I mean-
there's like an underground layer where they keep the Nintendo elder, and he just says, "Yeah" or "No," and they ask him questions, and he decides what to put out. Because, fuck, I mean, like, how could you
He's like
not?
Master Splinter.
Yeah.
They're
Yes,
just like
we-
channeling the spirit of Hiroshi Yamauchi, the old president.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
will allow it this time.
Yeah. So, yeah, we can move on to the next topic. Did anyone get any time in with the GBA app or the Game Boy app?
No, not yet.
I did. I played the
yeah,
Game
Greg
Boy.
and I are playing Game Boy apparently.
Nice. I hopped
Yeah.
into
What
a
did
few.
you guys play?
I don't have expansion packs, so I haven't played GBA, but
Hmm.
well,
think?
apparently we're both playing Super Mario Land too.
Nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, shoot! I was gonna play
I just
that.
love like I watched the gaming historian episode on that, but I just love, I don't know, the lore about like the like Game Boy Mario designs. I don't know, it's just so different to me that I just like it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, in the second one, like one of the worlds is you just go inside a giant Mario. It's like mechanical. And like that's the
Yeah.
world. Like that's very
That's
random, but like the
that's
game
kind of
commits to
amazing.
like these really random weird settings. Like one level is like you go inside a giant pumpkin and it's like all Halloween themed sort of. Like it's very random, but it's very fun.
That is
Yeah,
cool.
the
Like-
designs are really neat too, because you could see their, they did have other Marios out there on home consoles, and they took some of their designs into the Super Mario Land 2.
Yeah.
But like just even seeing like, Mario climbing into a giant tree and jumping on ants and floating around on leaves and clouds and with rabbit ears on and shit. It's just weird, so weird that I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny playing this game as an adult because I played this game as a kid and I just remembered it being like super hard and I never beat it. Now playing it as an
Yeah.
adult, like so far it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Are you?
I guess
are
I
you
just
using-
sucked as a
By
kid.
today's
but,
standards.
but it's funny, Greg. It might have been just last night. I watched that same game historian video because I've been playing this and
Yeah.
it showed up in my recommendations, so we're on the same wavelength here. But
They're
he
always
did
watching.
mention
Yep.
he did mention that the Wario boss fight at the end is harder. And it was specifically the end of the game that I could never beat. So like maybe I'm about to get pissed off all over again. I'll find out soon. I
But now
think
you
I
have
two
that
more worlds to get
rewind.
through.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. 'Cause
That's cheating.
Yeah, but
Well-
it's way more convenient.
See, I don't use the
I'm-
rewind. I use like a save state, but if
Yeah,
I
yeah.
die, whatever.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what
like-
I was going to ask. There's like save states in
There
this,
is
right?
save
Like
states.
it's not okay.
There's a save
Yeah.
state and rewind. It's actually pretty cool how they have it all set up.
I don't remember how to even do the rewind.
John, I know
Yeah.
you're lying. You only use the rewind.
He's like, I have no idea. Is it a button? I don't know.
And there's also like different I didn't really screw with it, but there's a few different filter options about like how it displays it
Mhm.
and stuff.
Mhm.
Because
yeah,
I
like
was gonna ask
I put it
that
on
too.
the Game Boy
Those
Color.
are those are actually
Yeah.
two of the things I dislike most about it. One
Really?
being the
choice. You hate choice.
so-
Choice.
How very Chinese of you.
So
Referring to the
so
country,
to-
not the people. I love the people.
Oh man.
John had to take a deep breath for that one.
Well,
Oh, but
folks,
John
it's
trying to
been
get us
nice.
all canceled.
It's been a pleasure for the last year.
So you can't change the filter on the fly. You have to
Yeah,
go
that is
back to the
annoying.
menu. And I'm like, why would you do this?
It
And then
seems it's
second,
probably
perf-
so easy to let us press a
Performance
button.
wise, it still performs as if it plays on the Game Boy. Like there are slowdowns. There's moments where it's like, and then Mario finally lands,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, was it like
I
this
don't-
before? I don't know.
I wonder that as well, but at the same time, I just kind of go with it. Like I find the slowdown
Yeah.
charming. It's like, all right,
It's
this
kinda-
is such a faithful emulation that it still sucks.
It's like 90% of Telltale games. It's just so garbage performance wise, but that's like now that's
mean-
like part of its charm. Kind of.
I'm like, get out of here, performance. I'm enjoying nostalgia. Get out of here.
It does kind of it does kind of bother me with some games, like Ocarina of Time still runs at like 23 frames, and that's kind of annoying. I just wish they would have upped it to 30 somehow, or 60, God forbid. But yeah,
But before not to get off this subject, and we can get back to it. But before I forget, I was going to mention, Brett, because you're playing this right now, Hogwarts Legacy. I went from fidelity to ray tracing to performance, and I can't tell a difference in like for FPS at all in any of those. They all feel like the exact same. Like even fidelity feels like the same frame rate as the other ones. Are you noticing the same thing? Because I can
No,
always notice a difference when I go back and forth, but I couldn't notice it last night.
yeah, I noticed the difference between the performance mode and then the fidelity. A pretty big
Fidelity,
difference
okay.
in terms of the actual frame rate. Visual wise, I'm still torn on them because I actually think the graphics look better in fidelity, but I do like the better frame rate and performance. So lately, that's been actually more of a thing. There were some games like Demon's Souls that even at 60 on performance mode, the graphics look so like I couldn't even tell the difference between performance and fidelity. So I was like, of course I'm gonna do performance. But lately with Dead Space and now Hogwarts,
Dead Space, yeah.
fidelity does look better, like graphics wise, like significantly,
Yeah.
like noticeably better. So I've been sticking with 30. Greg, how's that make you feel?
Horrible. because my
But-
wife's
but
years old computer can play the game at
But the thing is-
144 FPS.
Yeah,
the thing is,
with
I think this is-
N64 textures.
I think
No,
this is my
it's
point,
full
though.
1080p.
I think this is my point, though. Like you don't really notice that big of a dip in frame rate when you're doing fidelity on either of those two games. Like even Dead Space, like there was a pretty big difference in fidelity, like graphically between the two. But when I went to fidelity, like as far as like frame rate, it didn't seem like it dipped much. But like a game like, for example, like Horizon Forbidden West, you put that on fidelity mode and it's like, holy shit, that's like jarring. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I feel like they're getting closer to them becoming, one. Like I don't
know.
think it's as big of a dip as there was before.
Like we were talking about last time, I think some games do motion blur really well that sort of hides the slower frame rate somehow.
could be it.
I'm not
Yeah.
a tech guy, but I've heard Digital Foundry mention motion blur a lot and how they actually like preferred it in like 30 frames on the Series X version of Forza Horizon 5 because the motion blur is utilized so well that you can barely tell the difference, even though it's technically like cutting the frame rate in half. But
I turn it off all the time.
for Hogwarts,
Not really a fan.
I've been doing more fidelity, but also performance as well. Oh yeah, and I do notice a difference between them, like pretty in the frame rate, Brett, which I think is different from you.
Yeah, I didn't in Hogwarts, but I did in Dead Space.
Yeah. All right, what were we talking about, Mary? Where have you been?
Talking in Twitch chat. Sorry. We're having a very
Anyway,
in-depth
Super Mario Land 2 on
conversation.
Game Boy.
No, I did mention though, I'm a little annoyed that of course I get my hands on like the physical cartridges to play on my analog pocket of the stinking Zelda Oracle games. Now they're gonna be available on
So, like,
Switch
what's the point?
Online. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
with no
I
rewind.
knew that was
function.
gonna happen. So
Yeah, I'm in a similar situation. I just went down the rabbit hole not that long ago and downloaded a shit ton of GBA games on my G Cloud. And I was planning on playing them, but now it's like I might as well just wait until they're on Switch, like just to have them available on the platform that I'm holding the most, and that's on my TV as well. So, yeah.
Let's
but
be honest, your G Cloud is just to play Game Pass games on, anyways.
No, but I do have an update on that. A very important update on G Cloud that I want to get to later.
But
Mary,
I
what
will
were you
say
saying?
another thing about the Game Boy Advance. They're kind of fixing one of my complaints about Fire Emblem Engage, which they're going to be adding Fire Emblem, the Blazing Blade, that looks like, which is Roy's game, to GBA, the Game Boy Advance
Nice.
library.
But they have only permadeath on that game, right?
I don't know. I haven't played that one, so I'm actually really excited. That's one of the ones I haven't played.
It's the first one that they released in America, right?
I think so.
I think it's just called Fire Emblem. So if it's that
Oh.
one, then yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think that was the days
I
when
saw
there was
one of my
only
friends
permadeath.
mention Blazing Blade, and the box art looks the same. I googled it. 'Cause I'm bad with old Fire Emblem names. Okay.
Well,
Honestly,
in
I
the
wish
US,
that
it's
Fire
called
Emblem.
Fire Emblem, so I have faith you can remember it.
I wish Fire Emblem would go back.
It's
to
not
this style.
Roy's. Just kidding. I
Oh, it's
lied.
not.
Twitch
Is it
chat
Sacred
correcting
Stones that's
me.
coming, or Sacred Stones? Is that what
Ali
it's called?
West game.
It's just Fire Emblem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
It's the
she was
first one that was
engaged.
released in America.
Yeah, I didn't play this one. I did play, I think, the next one on GBA. Sacred. Was it called Sacred Stones, or am I just
Yeah.
making
I
that
think
up?
so, yeah.
Okay.
I think
I
it's Sacred
have that-
Stones.
I have that on 3DS because I was part of the ambassador program
yeah.
for being one of those suckers that bought it at launch for
Me
way more
too.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just never really tried it.
Guys, I'm an
Sweet
idiot.
digital
I had
certificate?
I had the like all the ambassador games, and then I went to the store to get a 3DS XL, and they're like,
Oh,
of
God,
course.
Did you trade it in?
No, I did trade in, but they had a transferring feature, and they were like,
Oh.
but then they were like, oh, our Wi-Fi is down or something, so like we can't do it. I'm like, well, that sucks. And then I was sitting there thinking for a second, like, am I ever gonna play those games? And I ended up just trading it in without transferring it over. I'm a freaking idiot. But then I ended up trading in that 3DS, so none of it matters.
Man. Brutal.
Yep. But yeah, what were we talking about? Let me look at the list.
Oh,
We talked-
John
I guess that's pretty
hates
much it.
We talked
other
about Game Boy.
countries.
Yeah, good. John hates other
Oh.
countries. But yeah, Metro. I mean,
governments.
GBA. I hopped in, I just to see how they looked, and I still think a lot of GBA games they look really good blown up on a TV still, because they basically look like SNES games, which have aged really good as well because of the pixel art.
Yeah.
Some of them obviously look terrible, like no, that was a Game Boy game. The Alone in the Dark game. It's impressive, but oh my god, it looks like throw
Might
up
choose that
fell
one.
on a screen.
Yeah, that was
looks-
a very random pick to me.
It's so random. I don't know what they're doing with that game.
I've been
But
playing.
if you play it though, it
well,
really is impressive for the tech. Like really impressive for the tech at the time.
see, the one I want to play most is I don't have the expansion pass or pack or whatever, but I wanted to play the Mario Kart Game Boy Advance one that they added because I'm playing it on my modded Game Boy Advance, and it is so fucking small. And I'm like, how did I enjoy games on this? And like, you have to use the left trigger to fire your item, but I literally play like this, like with my hands up, because there's no like comfortable way to play. I mean, I have a Game Boy player and the disc, but like, why do that when I can just play on Switch?
Yeah, exactly. I'll go to the next topic if Mary has nothing else to say, right?
Not at the
Right, Mary?
moment.
Okay.
I could think of something, but no.
Well, you can react to this. Jeff Grubb reiterates that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 are Switch bound. We already kind of went over this, but
Yeah.
that would be cool. But once again, like, what's the release schedule on this?
Right.
'Cause
Is it going to be
it's-
like another shadow drop situation, or like
that'd be crazy.
that'd be cool if they
just
did
decided
all
to keep
three
shadow
that
dropping
way?
all of them.
that would be
Oh,
amazing,
Culminating with
actually.
4. Just by the
Yeah.
way, Metroid Prime 4 is out. See ya.
Then you're gonna get me swearing every time they shadow drop something, and my parents are gonna keep texting me, "You cuss too much."
Yeah,
One
I
thing
saw
that-
you said something about that.
Sailor of
Yeah,
the
that was
show.
fun. One thing
Yeah.
that kind of sucks though is I feel like Metroid Prime didn't really get a big like reaction from at least where I've been on the internet. Like it was like that first night, it was like, oh, that's awesome. I haven't really seen anyone talking about it ever since. Whereas with Hi-Fi Rush, I feel like I saw it for like a week, like people talking about it. It's probably because Hi-Fi is a
What?
new game, but
I've
I haven't
seen
seen
a lot
anyone.
of people talking about Metroid.
I haven't seen anyone on my feed.
I will agree.
Are you
with
looking
Fred.
at the
I feel-
internet with your eyes
People-
closed?
Yeah.
I
I don't
will
know.
agree with Fred on this. I felt like more people lost their shit over Hi-Fi. I don't know why. Like I heard about Metroid a lot, but I felt like it died down quicker.
Yeah,
Like where
that's what I'm
Hi-Fi
saying.
Rush, like I heard about on podcasts for like 2 straight weeks. I'm like, okay, that's
If we
kinda
had
over this
access to
story
I mean,
now.
sales
it's-
figures on which game is making more money right now, I'm
Oh,
pretty
it's
sure
gonna
it's
be
Metroid.
No, for sure. But what I think, what I mean, like, is it felt like the hype from like how it's being talked about,
Yeah,
on like podcasts and
In
I
our
almost
circle.
knocked
I heard
my
more about Hi-Fi.
laptop over. I was so shocked by Metroid.
I'm just saying, in
Yeah.
our circle, from what I've seen, I feel like it died down pretty fast. Like after that first 2 days, and then like no, I haven't seen anyone talking about it. And I've been playing it,
Can
enjoying
we
it,
take
and
a
loving
poll? Can we take a poll?
it. But I haven't.
Which in
yeah.
reality, Metroid is a 100 times bigger deal than no one even knows what Hi-Fi Rush was. Metroid Prime is like one of the darlings of all time, and it got remade. And
Well, I
just
think that's
dropped in
I think
front of
that's
our eyes.
I think that's part of it though. It's a new IP. It's fresh. Like it was
It's
shadow
Xbox,
dropped.
and everyone just freaking deep throats Xbox. Let's be honest here. Come on, guys.
I wish it were true. I wish.
But
it were true.
also at the same time, like Metroid was like it was. I think this is my only critique of how they released it. It was just so weird. It was like, oh yeah, and here's Metroid
Yeah.
Prime. Like
Yeah.
there's no fanfare. There was no like celebration. There was no bells and whistles. It
There was
just
no
like, here
big
it is.
build up.
I-
You're right.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
like
the
available to
coolest-
download. Go play it or
I
fucking
didn't even
don't.
think about that.
I thought the coolest part about that announcement was the team that did it, because of how like the stark contrast between what they normally do and what that game is. It's like, holy shit, that team made this. Like that is insane. I thought that was like that part of it was really cool.
I thought that everything was cool with both games, and I played them both right whenever they came out. And I love stealth drops. I realized this month. So let's keep
Now
them
the
going,
pressure's
guys.
pressure's on Sony now. I mean, actually, technically, Sony did one like years ago, Entwined.
Yeah,
which,
that
like,
was
like
We all
10 people
remember that
played.
game.
the
Yeah,
classic.
that's
All the
what-
kids are talking about it.
That's what I'm saying. Like 10 people played it. Like that didn't work very well for them. But
That same
they picked a
team
pretty
would
they picked a
would go
pretty
to
shitty
do.
game to do it with.
They did Concrete Genie after that, so they're pretty
Okay, I
uh,
didn't know that was the same team. Concrete Genie is
Yeah.
actually decent.
I didn't play it, but I always wanted to. Yeah. Anyway, next up on the docket, speaking of Metroid Prime, we're just nonstop talking about it. Metroid Prime Remastered removes the names of the original developers who don't work at Retro anymore. I don't understand. There's a lot of this going around with games, and like someone who did like one of the main themes of God of War Ragnarok isn't even in the credits. Like the theme that everyone loves, not even in the credits, because she either didn't work at the studio when the game went gold, or she only did like a small portion of work,
Yeah.
so it doesn't count. Like she doesn't need.
Hmm.
But I just don't understand. Like what's
Or
the
Neil
big
Druckmann
deal?
as the creator of The Last of Us.
Right.
Yeah, the
Leaving out
sole
the-
creator.
God.
What's
Yes.
the guy's name? Frank
Bruce Straley.
not Frank. Bruce Straley. Yeah.
Frank. Classic
I don't know why
Frank.
Frank was in my head.
But he didn't get
Bert-
credited
is it
either. and
Bert?
it's BS.
No, he didn't.
But yeah, Bruce Straley, he created The Last of Us. Like he's
It's
not
kinda
even in the
messed up.
credits. I don't even know if he's in the
But
credits of the
Why not?
remaster.
Why not just put like special
Remake.
thanks to original
Right. That's all it
employee,
takes.
blah blah blah.
Yeah,
That's
special
kinda what
thing.
they
Very
did
A fucking
for-
you can put
line.
it in, like you can put it in very small print if you want, but give the guy his
But
dues.
does that constitute payment?
That's the thing. They say
No,
that
you can
they
give someone
avoid it.
special thanks without it being payment.
I heard
No,
that they avoid putting some people in the
Tip of the hat?
credits to not have them come after them for more money.
That's
in the
true,
because
because then they could be like, "See, I contributed to this. Where's my cut of it?" I could see that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, I mean,
But
if
They
it was
got
in their
paid to
original
do something
contract,
for the game. Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's something you could also hide in like somewhere in the credits or like somewhere in the game's something like instructions manual, like a digital instruction manual where it's like the people who are in the credits didn't necessarily all contribute in certain ways, blah blah blah. Some type of legal thing where they could just
But they
still
did
add
to the-
everyone
That's just-
to the credits.
that should just
Original
be in your
concept of the game or
contract.
some shit.
Like that should just be in your contract with the company. Like
Right.
you should,
Yeah, I
if you were
agree.
paid to contribute something to the game and you fulfilled what you were paid to do, then you should go in the credits. Like,
Unless they were
that's-
fired from
Yeah.
like over some like absurd thing they did, then I could see that
Yeah.
becoming like you
yeah, if you
broke
turn out to
your
be like an
terms of
axe
the
murderer or
agreement.
something, then maybe
Right.
just
Yeah.
leave you
Yeah,
out.
and like they're asking for just inclusion in the credits. I mean, like I feel like even if they wanted payment, like you can't fork over a fraction of the money that this
Right.
remastering, remake, reimagine, remix, or whatever the fuck you want to call it has made. Like just kick them some bucks or include them in and just put a disclaimer on it, like you said.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they even included Amy Hennig in Uncharted 4, and she like left and they had to completely revamp the entire game. And she left
Yeah.
like halfway through his development and they had to basically start over. And I'm pretty sure they included her at the end as special thanks to Amy Hennig.
Yeah,
So, like, if they could include her, they could
she needs to be in it.
exactly.
She created the property.
Same with Bruce Straley, so that's weird. It's
Yeah.
very weird.
But at the same time, they're also employed by the company, and whatever you make on company time is the company's.
That's what sucks. There's no
Yeah,
like
that's true,
with
Greg.
David Jaffe, he created God of War. His name ain't going to be anywhere near that TV show. Like
The only
not
reason
even
people
close.
know that now is because he tells us all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does smart SEO where he'll put like God of War creator reacts to blah
yeah,
blah blah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
As
it's
he
true.
should. I mean, shit.
I would.
Yeah.
I would have a big swinging dick if I created God of War.
But you
now
did
he just got a big swinging dick for the hell of it, just because.
prove it.
Prove it.
Moving on. My niece and nephew are watching. Let's
Oh
move
shoot!
on.
I'm sorry. Gosh dang it!
I forgot.
I did it again. I just never know when to shut up. I always cross the line. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
You apologize to his nieces and nephews.
Well, technically, you said it first, Brett. So
Yeah, no, I was
I
just
shouldn't be the
I saw the moment for some good comedic value, and I couldn't pass it up. I was
then
thinking
I took it a
the
little
children
further.
or the joke. Like, I had to choose.
Right.
I
right.
didn't choose the children.
You chose
All right,
the
next
dick.
up, Sonic. Dang it, Greg. Sonic Origins Plus pops up on Korean's ratings on the Korean ratings board. Well, I don't know what this is. Eric linked it. I didn't look into it at all, so I'm definitely not prepared. Does anyone know what this is about, John?
John,
Take
do
it
you
away.
hate Korea too?
No,
Okay,
he
if
loves
it's
Korea.
Yeah.
No, I know he loves
On it-
Korea. I'm just
No, yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. Like, it just looks like they're gonna do some sort of revamped edition, but I don't know what else they'd be adding to the thing. It's a mystery. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll add
That's
like
cool.
Knuckles Chaotix or something.
Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and CD.
Squid Game edition.
All right.
This next one appeals to John greatly, though, which is season 2 of The Breakers reveals Vegeta as a new raider.
Yes. This Dragon Ball: The Breakers, as we all know, is the most important game of this epoch, basically. This period in human history is defined by the Breakers. It's all come to this, and we kind of measure back from this point, like the Battle of Yavin in Star Wars. We all remember the launch of the game, and we measure time according to how much time has passed since then. So that's where we're at.
The Breakers.
This is like the before Christ moment. Like if you're looking at like a time period, like
Well, no, this
Or
is
after death.
after Christ, because the game is
after
out.
Christ.
Now we're watching Jesus grow. So
Grow.
the launch trailer for season 2 came out today, and yeah, it's awesome. So the way the Breakers works is asymmetrical survival game like Dead by Daylight, but I've never played it, so Mary's the only one who actually understands what I'm talking about. But
Yep.
I don't, because I didn't play it. But so the game launched with 3 raiders, the super powerful bad guys who stalk everyone else. So there's Frieza, there's Cell, and there's Boo. And the 4th raider is going to be Vegeta from when
Thank you, Greg,
he
for
first
laughing.
came and attacked Earth. And so there's like 4 levels of power for each raider. And I don't know what that
Oh,
was.
that's his dog.
dog.
Sorry.
Scared the
No,
shit
that was
out
a
of me.
woman.
For a second. I thought someone had a stroke.
So they're getting really creative here.
They think it's time to
With,
leave, but it's not. Hang on, I'm gonna mute.
No, it's time to talk about Dragon Ball: The Breakers
Yeah.
for the next
Yes, it
half
is.
an hour. So everybody buckle in and no complaints
Yep.
from anybody watching. You just listen
Everyone
and learn
mute yourselves
while
and
you're
listen.
busy ordering the game. No, I'll make this quick. But so each raider you start at level 1, you can make it to level 4. In this one though, it's really fun. You don't start as Vegeta, you start as the Cyberman, those like little green aliens that like even Krillin could fight. You start as one of those things. You level up, and level 2 you're Nappa. Level 3 you become Vegeta, and Vegeta kills Nappa. And then you're level 3
Good lord.
Vegeta. Yeah, it's awesome. And finally, at level 4, you become the Great Ape Vegeta. So now you're like a giant ape, which is just like a brand new mechanic for the game. You've not gotten to play as like a giant creature for any other raider. So like, this is really exciting for the 300 people that are playing this game like me. So like, it comes out in 2 days, and like, I'm stoked. You have to like spend points or whatever to like unlock him, and I hope I have enough. If I don't, if it's some outrageous number and I have to like physically buy him, I will. Like, that's how much I love this game. So
this
everybody,
Kids in
gonna
their
sound-
Fortnite and their Breakers.
Yep.
everybody run out and buy this game, man. You can say you were there. You were there to watch history
It was
unfold.
part of history.
We need to do a midnight release party the night before this comes out.
Do a countdown like it's New Year's.
Yeah. Yep. This is
Ah.
going to sound really ignorant because I know you've talked about it before.
Yeah.
But what the hell kind of game is this? It's not like it's not like a fighting game, right? Like
No. It's like a, as far as I know, it's like a Dead by Daylight clone. So you're
Mhm.
the
Okay,
raider is the
okay.
powerful bad guy who
Okay,
can take
that's
like a
right.
ton of damage. And one person plays as that, when then there's 7 like regular survivors who start out with like
That's
no
right.
powers. And they're scrambling, collecting keys to basically unlock a thing that can get them off the planet and survive. And so like, yeah, there's like a cat and mouse game going on there.
that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I do remember you've talked about that now that you brought it
Yeah.
up like that. Yeah.
I just love this game.
They're just super addicting, huh?
Yeah, it's like just like playing as either one. It's like it
I was
hasn't
about
gotten
to say,
old for me.
You're gonna turn into me with Dead by Daylight. You're gonna have like 2,000 hours in it before you know it.
Sick.
Yeah.
I love that you love this random ass game, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a very random,
Like-
but yeah, I mean,
Like, I don't get why it isn't like much more popular. Like even factoring in the jank, it's still a Dragon Ball game, and I think it's like a very good and creative use of the IP. Like, go
Now
play
you know
it.
how I feel with Halo Infinite. Why is it
Yeah.
failing? I don't understand.
What game is that, Brett? Is
It's
it
this
new?
game that came out a few years ago, or like a year ago or something. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, like in the middle of the day today, because Steam is like the only place where you can find out concurrent players, I checked what the Breakers concurrent players was at like the middle of the day, and obviously that's not a peak time by any means. But at the time it was like 186 players, I think.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, you only need 8 people to play a game, so that's still, like many
Hey, it's on sale
concurrent
right now on
games.
Steam too.
Yeah, it's like
does it
10
take some
bucks, isn't
time
it?
to? Does it take some time
$14.99.
to get into
Okay.
a match, or is it usually not too bad?
I'm playing on Switch. It usually never takes more than 2 minutes. And a lot of the
Nice.
time it's like a minute. So, yeah.
Speaking of Halo Infinite, just because it's also a game that's not that popular, unfortunately, even though it's Xbox's biggest IP, or it used to be. The last 24-hour peak was 5,237 people. Let's compare that to what's
Like
a
Call
good
of Duty
comparison?
peak?
There's no
Try
Steam
Call of
charts
Duty.
for Call of Duty.
Apex Legends.
I mean, that's too popular. What's like a good like middle ground?
Compared
is
to
Battlefield
Xbox's prize possession, their
I don't know,
prized
Battlefield
IP.
Is
2047.
Battlefield on Steam?
Oh, I don't know. Let's check.
I can't remember. Maybe it might be through Origin.
Let's see.
Like, I
Wow.
thought it might have been one of those games that like they kind of share
More-
now or something.
I cannot. I'm honestly.
I'm waiting for this.
This game is more popular than Halo. Are you kidding me? Substantially more popular. This game.
The Breakers is?
No. Battlefield
better believe
2042. I don't think 128
yeah,
players.
But dude, Battlefield is big. It's been big
Yeah,
for a
but
while.
I don't
Battlefield
ever
is
hear
massive.
anyone talking about this one. Like,
No, this one, yeah, this version is. Yeah.
so the peak the peak of the last 24 hours was 9,896. So about 10,000 people compared to Halo's 5,237.
Wow.
So about double the popularity.
That's
I
pathetic.
just,
Yeah,
think, I just think a lot
like,
of that
even
too
for me-
is Halo.
Like, I play-
just
I play
Xbox and
Halo
PC,
on
and Battlefield
PC
is all-
through Xbox.
That's only
not
Steam charts, Brett.
Mm,
Oh, this is just Steam
Okay.
charts. Okay.
So it's
Yeah,
only
like,
PC. Yeah.
okay.
I play Halo on the Xbox app through on PC, not through Steam though.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
that's
I mean,
a
there could be
big
more.
thing. Yeah, Halo probably has a much larger audience on
Mm.
console compared, well, on Xbox, not on console overall compared to Battlefield.
That could be
I'm assuming
hard to say, but
they're
yeah.
both on Game Pass.
Battlefield
so-
used to be like my Breakers. What Breakers is to you, John? Like I
Mm.
used to love that game so much, and like I don't know, like
Have
the
you
last
tried
couple
going
just
back
haven't done it
to-
for me. I
the new one?
haven't. I want to. I want to try 2047. Because I heard it got a lot better. Like the launch version, I guess, was just an absolute laughing stock. But apparently, it's gotten a lot better. So I'd like to jump in now and try it out. But man, like
2042.
Ba-
Yeah.
20 is it
They
2042?
struggled for
Yeah.
they struggled so long to get a player
That's right.
base.
Yeah, but I mean, like Battlefield 4, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, 4, and Hardline were like everything to me. I played so damn much of those games.
And Battlefield 1. That was really good too.
Battlefield 1, I didn't play as much of that, but yeah, it was good
Oh,
too.
you suck.
It was good. No, I liked it. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I sort of fell out with most first-person shooters except Halo nowadays, and then Call of Duty occasionally when I'm hanging out with my friend. Next up, I don't know. I'm just gonna skip this one, Eric. Mario toys.
What is
skipping it?
just
Bait
no.
and Kaitos.
Seeing it, probably.
A bait and Kaitos. How do you a bat and Kaitos?
I'm
Maybe.
gonna look up the fucking pronunciation for that.
Anyway, the HD remaster that's coming to Switch soon only includes the Japanese voiceover and none of the English voiceover that the original had, which kind of is annoying. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Bait and
Okay, I got a
Bait and
phone
Ki-
call.
it's Bait and Kaitos. So Bait and
Bait
Kaitos.
and Kaitos. Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to play this, but now I guess I'm gonna have to find other means because I don't want to have like I'm a dubbed guy. I'm never gonna be a subbed guy in my life, mainly because I end up looking away from the TV or something when something important happens, and I can't understand anything when that.
I can't believe you.
You know, it is what it is.
Someone who talks about continuity and original actors, and you can't even have the original Japanese voice actors and read a little bit. You can't look at the little tiny baby look at the baby subtitles, Brett.
Well, Greg, you know what? To me personally, I'm more of a guy who I liked dubbed, and I'll even go as far to say as, you know, all them filler episodes in Dragon Ball Z that were totally made up and didn't follow any of the source material. In my head,
all of them,
those are canon. Those are real. Those happened. You can't just delete them from history. They're a part of the story. All right? So it counts. In my world, it counts. I don't know why I just had to tell you that.
Fuck your world.
All right, next up. Tears of the Kingdom, 18.2 GB. Is that the biggest Switch game? Or is it the biggest Nintendo game? Which one?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know if it's Switch or like Switch overall or just Nintendo.
Wait,
I
well,
want to say it's just Nintendo, because
okay.
Yeah.
Let me see, biggest
bigger download
Switch
than that, but I don't.
file. Let me Google that. Let's see what we see.
What game you talking about?
Looks like Naruto
Tears of the
Shippuden is
Shippuden?
17.7, and that might be the current biggest.
Really?
Never mind. That was number 17 of the top 17 biggest. NBA 2K21. Yeah. Oh my god, 41.6 GB. That could not even fit on a Switch without an SD card.
I'm seeing 46.2 for 2K 2022.
We must be looking at different articles that are the same thing.
Am I the only one that didn't know NBA 2K was on the Switch?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Like, what the hell?
They're actually like comparable.
I knew
ports.
I knew MLB The Show was on there. I didn't realize 2K
360
was on
quality
Yeah.
about.
No, it's not 360 quality, Greg. They're like actually good looking games, like genuinely.
Yeah, like 360 quality, probably.
Like
No.
GameCube quality,
Switch.
Xbox One quality on Switch.
All I knew is that like FIFA releases like the same piece of crap each year, and they change the number and the rosters, and the game's identical otherwise.
Yep.
That's
And people
basically
keep
what
buying
Madden
it.
Is. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
Madden
And I buy
changes
every damn one of
something.
them every year. Like an
And
idiot.
you-
I mean,
I'm part of the
even
have to
though-
when they're out there
Yeah.
spending 448 million.
Brett,
the
if
problem.
you just bought a Series S and then used your Xbox Game Pass for your son, you would never have to buy Madden. You would never have to buy Call of Duty if that deal goes through, and tons of other games that he would like.
But the problem with Madden, and we've discussed this before.
I know it's only
it would
relevant
work
during
for Call of
football
Duty.
season.
Exactly. It won't drop to Game Pass until football season's over, and by that time, you're like onto basketball. So it's like football. You're out of like the football mode, and you're into basketball now. So you only want to really play Madden when football season in, like especially right at the beginning of the season. So it wouldn't really work for that. But I don't know. For some people, maybe. For me, I'm not that way. Like the few games of Madden I play during the year are going to be like during football season. I don't really care once football season's over, but some people very well may be different, but
Yeah.
I would guess if they looked at like the number of like the user base during and after season, it would drop like significantly, I would guess.
I would figure it'd be the opposite, because then like you don't have football, but you have Madden.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it drops quite a bit, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, apparently
That's
there was a
interesting.
woman. There was a 36-year-old woman who threatened Nintendo and went to jail after sending death threats. Eric,
Wasn't
you
it to
can't
the
just be
higher ups there
posting these
somewhere?
newses in here, and I haven't been reading them. I just stumble upon all this stuff that he added, and it's like, what? Someone tried to kill Nintendo? She literally yelled out, "Die Nintendo!" That's what it says.
It happened in Japan though, so that kind of makes more
Oh.
sense.
John, here we go again.
He hates Japan too. He won't stop.
Japan is where there's always like those like random stories of like death threats, and then they get arrested, and then they get the quote from the arrested person. They're like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I was a little angry." Like this is
Okay.
this is something that happens with like semi-regularity for some reason.
Yeah.
So, mm.
I guess on to the Nintendo topic. This isn't, I just got to call this out. Everyone reporting Xbox admits, they always use that terminology or that phrase, that Game Pass hurts game sales, which is like, yeah, that's the whole point of Game Pass. Like, that is why you have Game Pass, to not buy the game. That's the value proposition. That's the whole. I don't understand why everyone is acting like this is a surprise. Is it because they said in the past that Game Pass can lead to more game sales? Because if you thought they meant that literally, like people are buying the games on Game Pass because they're on Game Pass, no, what they mean is someone's getting engaged into the ecosystem and then buying more games on top of what's already offered, or games that end up leaving the service. And they're like, I'm going to buy this now, a game they wouldn't have otherwise bought. I don't think in any world Xbox ever imagined or assumed, or anyone would assume, that Xbox Game Pass would lead to more game sales. Of course, it's going to kill game sales. I don't understand where any of this is coming from. And of course, I'm going to ask the expert on the situation, which is Mary Stowe. What do you think about it?
I mean, yeah. I'm like, I don't understand. No, I'm just like, I don't. Yes, my very thought provoking. Yeah. No, but that's my thought. I'm like, okay, but I'm with Brett. I'm like, why are people? Is it a slow news week? Why are people acting like this is a big deal? I'm like, of course, people would rather pay the monthly subscription than buy the game. I mean, I'm one of those people where I'm like, I'm gonna use my Game Pass, because what if I hate the game? Then I'd rather be out the whatever subscription a month instead of $60. Like, so
yeah.
it's a no-brainer headline.
And it's weird because like people are like spinning it. They're like, so many outlets are using the word admits, like it was a secret, like it was something they were trying to hide. Like, no, like they're what? I'm baffled by it. John, did you use that verbiage? Let me know.
No, I ignored it.
Okay.
I don't even care. Like, I don't care. About 85% of the topics we discussed, in my heart, the truth is I don't care.
Eric,
Brett was trying to find out who originally wrote that. It was either you, John, or IGN, one of the two.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, I can think of where like it increased sales. Like Hades, I think left Game Pass not that long ago, and people were like, "Well, shit! Like, I love that game. Now I have to go buy it." Like, but that was like after it had already been on Game Pass for a while.
The thing is one thing I have noticed is that games can gain popularity from Game Pass, and then if they're multi-platform, Game Pass can increase sales, but not on Xbox usually. A game like let's see, what was that Square Enix one that they ended up saying was a failure, even though it started off initially really good.
Outriders.
That game was on Game Pass day one, and because of that extra oomph and the marketing, a lot of people ended up picking it up on PlayStation as well, because it was cross-play. A lot of their friends had it. They end up picking it up because it's like starting to get popular, and they're like, I want to play this new game. So I can picture Game Pass increasing sales, but not on the platform that Game Pass is available on, because why would you when you can sub to the service? That, like I'm saying, that's the whole value proposition for Game Pass. You don't want to buy
Outriders
the games.
is a bad example. That game was broken.
No, it worked fine.
Outriders is great.
I played it at
I liked
launch.
Outriders.
It was good.
I had a good time.
I played it at launch too, and I had like too many problems that I just quit.
Were you on PC?
Apparently,
I played
there you
PC
go.
and Xbox.
PC nerd.
PC, yeah.
The problems you have when you're on PC. No, I'm joking.
Listen here, guys.
The studio of Outriders, like the rumor was they hadn't even been paid. Like they're
because
and it was like
they got their initial check.
Release. They got their initial check, but they hadn't gotten the royalty checks or whatever after it's released that they were supposed to get, because it didn't make the money that it was supposed to make. Anyway, getting back to this, Greg, this is actually interesting. So the average players on Steam charts for for Madden. Madden starts in September.
Totally changed the conversation back to this.
So it starts in September. It was 1,400 average. It peaked in February, which is when the Super Bowl is, and then it progressively goes down until like August, and then it picks back up. So it's pretty.
So you're not alone.
Yeah, so it definitely is higher during football season.
Anyway, after he derailed the conversation, I'm just kidding. I just thought that was weird. Just like really weird, like people spinning it on articles. I don't
know why anyone would think anything other than this. Like, of course, it's not gonna. Of course, like sales for a game isn't going to get better from it being on Game Pass, because like we've all said, if you have Game Pass, you're just playing it on that. You're not, most people aren't going to buy the game as well.
It would be like
every game I played on.
Sorry,
Brett. No, I was going to say every game I've ever played on Game Pass, unless it was like a game like a Games of Service or something, I would have no reason to play it once it's off of Game Pass.
Yeah, I just feel like this would be like writing an article saying Netflix admits that its service floors the sales of Stranger Things DVDs. And it's like, okay, yeah, because the only people who are going to buy those are like super fans. Just like if you're on Game Pass and you love a game, and it's either you love it so much you want to support it, or it's leaving the service, it's like, yeah, I'm going to buy it. But otherwise, you're not going to buy it. That's the whole point of the service.
But would you know that Stranger Things on DVD was for sale if you didn't watch the show? So didn't the show on Netflix do its job?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of similar to how people get on Game Pass and they like Forza, and then they're like, "Oh, I really love this. I want more of it. I'm going to buy this expansion." So they buy like the extra thing.
I think it's all fair. I think it's all fair, business decisions, because as a developer, it's like, why would you not want this big cash advance up front from a company that wants to put your game on their service when you have the potential to sell, DLC skins or whatever. So I think in that case, like, obviously, yeah, it doesn't sell, more games, but the lack of sales of their game still puts money in their pocket by getting money from Microsoft is coming onto the service.
My big question with Game Pass, and it has been ever since Game Pass caught fire and really got big, was, are they actually making money from Game Pass? And if so, how? Like, it still blows my mind that they're coming out profitable. But I mean, it's still like they're paying for how many 200-300 games? They're paying these studios to have the games be on Game Pass, and people are paying like between $9 and $15 a month or something. And sometimes people are cheating the system, getting like a free month, or they do it for 1 month for $1 and then cancel. So it's like, to me, it seems crazy, but I'd be curious. I want to see those numbers from Microsoft. Like,
they'll
at the end of the day.
I'm hoping that this Activision thing is going to have a bunch of numbers come out that they would otherwise never give us. But with all this going on, I mean, I don't think Game Pass is up to 30 million yet. It's probably really close, but it's probably not 30 million. And their goal in the long run was to get up to like 70, 80 million subs. And then they could probably start seeing some profit. I don't think it's profitable in the sense that they're making a lot of money right now, but I think they are gaining more of a lot of valuable, like a lot of customers from Game Pass that could end up being like long-term supporters of the service.
They're definitely improving like their ecosystem and like their reputation. And like this, even if like Game Pass had to stop tomorrow, it has brought so many more people over to Xbox to try it out for the first time. Like me, this is my first Xbox I ever owned because of Game Pass. And like, I'll probably buy the next system now, even if there's not Game Pass on it, just because like, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. I enjoy the games that are only on Xbox. And like, I'm now a new customer because of that service. So if the very least, they're increasing like their number of people that have their eyes on what they do from what they did before.
I wonder if they would have viewed it as more of a short-term thing to gain an audience quickly, if they would have just said, all of our first-party games for the next 2 years are all going to be on games with gold, instead of like with Game Pass never being a thing. Like, I wonder if that would have brought people in, just knowing that you could get like Starfield and stuff with basically it paying nothing, since you're already paying for online, but they have to be fully in on this Game Pass thing. There's no they can't go half in. They have to go all in.
Yeah,
They have to get these deals done. They have to get these games out, and they're starting to get there. 2021 was a great year for Xbox. 2022 was awful, and this year has to be another great year. They can't go 2 years in a row with awful years. So yeah,
that's just how it goes, though. I feel like last year was a great year for PlayStation. I don't see that great year from them this year, other than like Spider-Man. Like I don't see anything like mind-blowing from them this year. So it happens. It's kind of the ebbs and flows of the industry.
Yeah.
But
Nintendo's the only console like company that like spaces out and stretches out all their releases like perfectly, it seems.
Yeah.
Well,
shit, they hold on to games for 2 years after they're completely finished. They're like, this seems like a good month.
That was actually a point I was going to make earlier, is like why they have to have something coinciding with it. If they waited this long to release it, they must have other projects that are hitting deadlines, anticipating the release, push out Metroid Prime Remaster, and then whatever, like Mary said, having them priced individually. It's not like they probably don't have something complete at this point.
Yeah,
they're marketing geniuses.
Yeah. Guys, this has been a long episode.
Into believing that.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking circus in there at Nintendo headquarters.
Yeah, but they're just telling us that this is the right way.
Do you guys want to do a quick what we're playing, or should we call it? Because it's been a longer episode than usual. We could probably call it.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg and I talked about Super Mario Land 2.
Yeah, that's true. And I talked about Metroid.
Oh, wait a minute. No. Mary, we need to hear about Mary's Persona 4.
Oh my god! Okay, that
can't just
end with that.
I was gonna say we can skip it, and
I'll
have much more to talk about next week, because I feel like
I'd end the show on that.
I feel like I've barely scratched the surface with it, but
tell us everything. It's like in the next 5 minutes. Just give us all your thoughts.
So I finally started playing Persona 4 Golden, like I said I would, and it starts out kind of slow.
No,
which
she hates it.
I don't hate it.
I know that tone.
Slow, but like I'm finally at the point where like I'm actually like playing, and like there's combat. I can like start fusing personas. So I'm actually like in the game now. And once I got to that point, I was like, okay, here we go. Like now I'm like in the zone. But it did kind of throw me for a loop, because I thought it was going to start with like, oh, here's the murder victim, of course it's the mistress or the whatever, and I was like, all right, cool, that's gonna be the murder for the game. And it was like, bam, here's another murder, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, someone's murdering people.
Yeah, I was like, I thought it was gonna be like a little cliche, and like I said, of course the mistress got murdered, but okay. I already have like a theory though for who it is.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can you tell us yet?
I mean,
like we won't give any reaction.
Yeah, like I'm very early game. But I'm still very, very early game, so yeah, no one spoil it for me. But right now I'm like, that news reporter is kind of sus. Because the news reporter was a little too excited to interview the one chick, and then the murder happened, and then gets a little too excited again talking to people. I'm like, okay, either this news reporter is just really weird, or like there's something going on.
So interesting. So excited hearing you talk about this game. Like honestly.
Yeah. So I'm very much looking forward to sinking like all my free time into this.
What'd you think about the teacher? Like when he introduces you, he's like, "Here's this stupid bastard. No one talked to this asshole."
This teacher is like, y'all are just teenagers. Y'all are just here to hit on each other. All the boys just want to date the girls. I'm like, can you shut up? You're annoying.
Honestly, I don't even remember that. That's really funny.
Yeah, because like you go to ask about like the clubs, and he's like, you just want to join a club so you can hit on the girls. I know what you're all about. And it's like, no, I want to play soccer or basketball. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like the teacher's really like introducing you to the class. And he's like, no one talked to this loser. He's some asshole from another town. I'm like, what the hell?
Y'all are just a bunch of rednecks out here in the country.
That's him on the screen right now.
Those jacked up fucking teeth.
He's one of them stupid ass country boys. Like, he's just pissed off. I'm like, what are you doing?
All right, I remember his face at least. That's such a good face. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
kind of attractive.
God,
You can just feel his bucktooth fury.
God.
I made a
I'm
TikTok
just-
about it that has the clip. I'll have to send it to you. I'll have to
I don't
find it.
remember
It's an
that
old one.
one.
I feel like he
Yeah.
would have that like old, like grandpa stale breath, just hot and just reeks of old person.
Actually, Mary, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if we ever posted it.
Did we?
I made it for sure. I made a TikTok about that teacher, but I don't remember if we posted it.
Oh
Yeah.
man, you're just like Nintendo. You're just sitting on finished content.
Exactly. We always are. That's how we do.
Oh.
Except right now, we
Okay.
actually only have like one TikTok in the docket. We got to start making some stuff.
I have like 5 half-finished ones.
Yeah, I just have ideas
Ish.
in my head.
Mm.
So,
Anyway,
but yeah.
I'm excited that you're
Cool.
playing it. Like so
Yeah.
excited. Like I don't think I've ever felt this way about like being this excited about someone else playing a game. Not even
Well,
Brett.
it's funny because I was worried I was gonna be like JRPG burned out after Engage, but like Engage was just fun
Not
but not
engaging enough.
great. Yeah,
Not
it wasn't
engaging
as
enough.
engaging as I wanted it to be. That
Poor
like
title choice.
yeah, they're like I'm just ready, and I started to like again like get into like the combat, and I was like, I think this is what I really needed right now was just like a nice, just good JRPG. And I love Persona 5, so
Yeah.
I just want you to take in the conversations and the relationships that they have when they're
Yeah.
all sitting around the table trying to figure things out. There's something about that where I just felt like I was really a part of the group, and I just want you to feel
Yeah.
that way too.
Like the whole group, like it feels like genuine friends that you happen to have in your
Exactly.
life. Like it's
Yeah.
I just haven't played any other game that really like gives me that same vibe.
Same.
Uh,
Yeah, like
Is
this is
it-
probably the only game where I feel that strongly about all the characters.
yeah.
Do I need to play Persona 4 Golden for you guys to care about what I'm playing like you did with Mary? Jesus Christ.
I mean, you're playing Madden. It's hard to care.
okay, well,
Brett.
this is apparently like
We already
one of
talked
the
about the
best
drop-off.
video games ever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. I
bet-
We've been hyping
I
this
bet-
to you for so long.
yeah.
I
So if you
bet
end up
Franco
hating it,
cares.
it'll be like, oh man.
Franco cares. Yeah, Franco
I bet
cares about you.
Franco cares about what I'm playing. I know he does. He's got me. He's got me.
When are you gonna tell the group that you're Franco?
Oh my god, dude. That would be the biggest twist of all time.
That's like
Yeah.
this Fight Club moment that like all of a sudden there's like this montage flashback of everything in the past couple years.
It's like, wow, Franco was always on Brett's side.
I wonder why he's always looking down when he's talking.
But yeah,
That's good stuff.
Mary, definitely keep us updated. And I
Yes.
definitely am for sure doing we're going to do a dedicated YouTube video as well, which I do want to shout out before we leave. Me and Mary have been doing this new show called the Detoid Corner, where we do
Oh, man.
discussion, topical conversations. Our last episode was actually top 10 JRPGs on Switch. And you know what was on it? Persona 4 Golden, of course.
Yep.
How
So
about
yeah,
that?
it's going to be cool. And I also
Nice.
just put
I'll have
out
to check that one
my
out.
basically my review, but I of course haven't beaten it. So my impressions of Hogwarts Legacy, I titled it "Everything Wrong with Hogwarts Legacy." Get some of that SEO action on there.
But you
Dude,
actually
when you
liked it.
first
Yeah, I liked
yeah,
it a lot.
when you first sent me that, I was so confused because I was like, wait, but you like this game, and then I started. I was like, okay, I see what he's doing.
Yeah.
here. He's just
I thought of an
starting it off-
idea. It's a
Yeah,
it's
no,
a
it's good. It's
show
good.
called
It's
"Everything
like
Wrong
a-
with."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I can
I like
can
it.
use it for any game that I love. Everything wrong with
Oh, man.
Persona 4 Golden. You know what I mean?
So you're just
I
becoming
will-
like video game cinema sins and everyone's gonna hate you.
Well, I decided, you know what, I'm going to open the video with my complaints, real complaints, stuff that I think people
Yeah.
might be concerned about. And then after that, then I like, okay, the rest, here's how I actually, I fully feel about the game.
That's fair.
I just
do
feel
have
like, I
to say
mean,
real quick because I'm not going to
Sorry.
get into like what I'm playing and stuff. I was kidding about that, but I do just have to say because I'm probably like 2, maybe 3 hours into Hogwarts. I cannot believe how good the facial animations and the character models look in this game. Like
Oh, really?
what you've seen in previews do no justice to like actually playing the game. I was like the old guy. What's that first guy that you meet, the professor or what's his name? Fig?
yeah, Menu Matt, that's his name.
Yes.
Menu Matt? The guy that you meet and he
That was a joke from last week.
Oh yeah, that's right, man. You Matt. Yeah. Anyways, the old guy. He when it shows him up close, like some of the detail and like when he's talking, like the facial animations are like some of the best I've ever seen before. It's actually really impressive.
That's
Can you
cool.
see
Yeah.
his teeth?
It's great. He looks like his breath smells for sure.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
All right, this has been Spot Dodge. I forgot
Forgot what we
the
were
name
on.
for a minute.
I was like,
This has
okay.
been
He's doing so
everything
many
wrong
shows
with
now he
Spot
doesn't
Dodge.
even remember everything.
If you made it this far, thanks for hanging out. This is our weekly Nintendo show where we stream every night, 6 p.m. Central Time on the Destructoid YouTube channel and then post later on podcast platforms. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That would really mean a lot. And that's all. Thank you for hanging out. We'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
This is John hates communism.
And loves China.
Yeah.